Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PGL Season 1 finals. I still can't get over it, Season 1. Feels like we've done this before, guys. Anyway.
Apparently that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Yeah. I wish I could just erase certain events from my memory, but apparently they're always on the internet forever, mate.
Yeah,
so.
It's one of those things like pre-qualifiers for qualifiers. Inception.
Yeah, it's wrecked my brain. When I saw Season 1 again, I honestly was taken back a bit. But anyway, so I'm Richie Lewis. I'm your host for the desk. Finally got here and turned up. Great job by Sadikist. Check his Twitter out, by the way. He's doing some giveaways at the moment. And
very generous guy, actually.
Yeah,
he loves the community and the fans.
Known for it.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got the ex-pro, the ex-NIP coach, a man with 15 years esports experience over there. It is, of course, Natu. And we've got Duncan Shields, the leading CSGO
the
analyst.
only, really. So, except when you do it, of course, Richard. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, the thing is, actually, that's why it doesn't feel like it was that long ago that we were doing PGL, because I remember we did this PGL, then Natu became the coach of NIP. Yeah. NIP right down, then won like nothing. Now he's back again. We're back again. He's back again. It all worked out in the end, guys. So
yeah, good times, eh?
Yeah, it's
in between this PGL and the next one. I think I'm actually going to become the coach of Envious. Those guys love me as well. They know I'm on the ball. So
yeah, that's why you never predict them to win anything.
I have a few roster changes in mind, but we'll get to that once I become the coach. Hastro, pay me.
I'm pretty sure that they'd take me as a coach over you. But anyway, let's talk about that off air. Let's get into what we've got now. It's the second semi-final of the day, second match of the day, and the final match of the day. It's going to be a cracker. It's TSM versus Fnatic. Two teams that know each other inside out. Recently, although not quite as recently, it was always the big story was TSM, man, they're like Fnatic's kryptonite. Yep. But just recently at offline performances, most notably at Fragbite in the Champion Showdown or whatever it was called, they played 5 maps. It wasn't even a best of 5, it was you had to play all of the maps. And of course, Fnatic took 4 of those 5 maps, so they're starting to claw it back. Now, we have seen Fnatic have a little bit of a dip in form recently. At Gfinity, of course, we saw Envious beat them in the final in a best of 5. Great series. So what do we think is going to be happening here, just right at the top?
Yeah, well, the thing is, when these two teams play, as you mentioned, before it was conclusive, like TSM was definitely the kryptonite for Fnatic. Because I remember the worst example of it for me was when it was the Fragbite Season 4 finals, actually. Because that was the one where, in the upper bracket final, Fnatic beat them 2-1, and they beat them on, like, Inferno, I think maybe... I can't remember. I think it was Dust 2 as well, maybe. And they beat them, and you thought, okay, maybe they've figured it out now. Maybe now it's going to be an even matchup. Then they came back for the best of 5 final. Yeah. TSM beat them on Cobblestone, which at the time TSM didn't even play. To this day, it's their ban, by the way. Yeah. They beat them on that inexplicably, and then just won the final 3-1. So it's like, oh, right, back to that again. TSM's on top again. The only thing that really gives you hope, if you're thinking Fnatic can win, is this showdown. Like the showdown there, it was conclusively all Fnatic. The only map they lost was Train, which of all the maps that Fnatic plays, it's probably their weakest overall. It's one of them at least where they've never really embraced it that much. So at the moment, I actually feel like this is going to be much more even matchup than before. I don't give it to either side, actually. I don't think TSM's conclusively just going to wreck them. I don't think that results at their show match show that Fnatic's going to be ahead. I think this time it comes very much down to the map pool. And I think now we've got some really interesting areas where one of the things I always thought made TSM so strong against Fnatic is they used to be able to control Mirage. And that was like one of the second or third maps of Fnatic. So if you take that away from them, suddenly they were getting control. Like, okay, we've got you on Dust 2, we've got you on Inferno. So I actually think that's the key thing. I want to see how they draft. I think that can really decide who wins this one.
Well, we're going to do an introduction of one of the teams that are playing now. It's going to be Fnatic. I'll let you take over this now, too. Yeah. They're going to be coming up on screen just shortly, I believe.
Yeah, the scary thing about Fnatic is looking at recent performance, it's been Flusha and Olofmeister that being the big players. It's like JW's been a bit absent recently. Crim's not really been up to his standards recently. So it just goes and tells you a story there, right where Fnatic sits. They have such a deep talent pool individually that it doesn't really matter if some of their players are not playing up to their full standards, and they could still be one of the best teams in the world.
I mean, in particular, Flusha seems to have been
God mode.
Yeah, he's just been making so many crazy clutches for them. And it's like Duncan said at the last Gfinity. He said, if you were to take some demos of Flusha, just take his play and put it out there, you'd be like, this guy can't be legit. He's just over the top, how ridiculous he is. He just seems to have this incredible sort of game sense right now. He's really on point. And some people are even saying, there's some strong voices in the community now that maybe he's even eclipsing Olofmeister in terms of how important he is to the team.
Yeah, I think that's maybe going a little bit too far. The thing with Flusha is he'll have like a map where he's really, really good and he does win the map for them. But like what was a great example for me, the fact that Olofmeister still is the best player in the world is when I watched that Gfinity Champion of Champions final, and it was full 5 maps. At the end of the series, the only maps that Fnatic won had been like the really close ones, and Envious was running away with the other maps. At the end of the series, I went and I looked at the overall stats on HLTV.org, the full 5 maps. Olofmeister, I think, if I'm correct, had the most frags in the whole series, and he went over 100 frags over the 5 maps. And yet, it didn't feel like he was dominating, but on the maps where they needed him, he really turned on. And that Inferno game particularly, he just literally saved them from being eliminated 3-1. He just took over the whole game, blasted away all the great performance from Happy, all that good stuff. He just did whatever he wanted. And so to me, it's true, he's not the guy who every game has like the 30 frags or whatever, but overall, you give him time, he's always going to get his games in a tournament. And so few players you can say that about.
And recently, of course, we saw your fellow Finn Lopez. He did a top 10 players and placed Crims quite highly in that, actually above Flusher. So it was 3 people from Fnatic in the top 10. I mean, where do you feel Crims is right now? I mean, a lot of people are like, perhaps that was a little bit high, but he is so consistent in what he does.
I mean, the thing is that he's a one-man army who can, especially on the CT side, he can hold a bomb site on his own. Not like there's not a lot of people who can do it with the consistency he's been doing for such a long period of time. I think that's the thing that really works for him.
Yeah, and obviously as well, while we sort of just have a look at the maps, the win rates they've got on some of these maps are absolutely insane. I mean, I didn't even realize. Obviously, I knew Inferno was good for them, between 70 and 80%. I obviously knew Cobblestone was good for them, between 70 and 80%. Really surprised that Train seems to be a map they're really nailing at the moment. I don't know if they've necessarily played any of the top teams in.
The thing is, I think this takes into account online performance as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember with the land stats I had, like Dust 2 was number 1 when I remember on that one. And Inferno was still very high up for them. Whereas Train's a map they don't actually play that often. Like they've done well on it, surprisingly well. They don't play it that often. Like, I know Cobblestone was very high as well, so that one still follows through there. The thing is, because Fnatic is so good on most of the maps, depending on whether you take online or offline, it's going to adjust it quite differently. And
obviously we've got Dust 2 right down there, Fnatic's worst map, which of course coming up against TSM.
That's the cool thing about this matchup, though, is that how both teams are so stacked when it comes to map pool. So it really depends on the match of the day. What's going to be the map you want to be vetoing? Because you've seen situations where TSM's been on top of Fnatic on Dust 2 specifically.
Exactly, yeah.
TSM, Cobblestone is a bit, hit and miss. Sometimes it's going to be really good. Sometimes it's just total disaster. So, I mean, it's really going to be hard to say, there's no specific maps, in my opinion, in this matchup that really favor either of the teams, which makes it such an interesting matchup.
I mean, for me, the one that I think you can single out is I think Cobblestone should heavily go towards Fnatic, but obviously, you're going to get 2 bans in this system. So if you're TSM, let's put 1 ban down for Cobblestone. But then since they themselves have every other map as well, and they have, for example, Trains maybe a favorite for them, okay, now maybe Fnatic has to ban that. So you're getting to a point now, there's a lot of gamesmanship. Like, can you mind game the other guy into banning the map you wanted to get away with, and get onto these ones? They themselves probably don't know who's better on some of the middle maps.
Remember going back to early summer, it was Frack by season, whatever the latest season was, finals, Fnatic, TSM, we were thinking Cobblestone was a map where we figured, this is going to be Fnatic easy, but TSM just guns blazing, destroyed Fnatic on it, so you never know.
And just while we keep discussing how the map pool might play out, we can also bring up the TSM team, take a look at some of the individuals on theirs. Now, obviously, what you're going to see here is, again, a really stacked lineup in terms of individual skill. And there it is, that stat on Train. We'll get into that. But let's just talk about Device. I mean, he was, again, in this top 10 by Lurpus, ranked number 2, just below Olofmeister. I think that was a good pick. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. What he's done is he's turned his performance around from being a notable choker in big games to being Mr. Consistent in big games. The guy who regularly drops 20 frags. Again, it's a well-known anecdote now, but at the major, had to use a mouse and equipment he wasn't familiar with, still was the top fragger against Envious, who of course went on to beat them. So he's in incredible form right now and really seems to be almost like the talismanic player within this squad.
Yeah, the thing with their team is, I still think, now that Envious is around, they're doing well. Okay, I'll give Envious the title. Envious is man for man the most skilled team. But before Envious put together a line where literally everyone had been a star player, I think this was the most skilled player. 1 to 5, because, for example, Zipnix had a little bit of a slump in the summer. He was still good, but he's been absolutely on fire recently. Obviously, we know Cage and B can take over the whole game on a map. Dust 2 particularly a favorite of his. I think the only guy, though, that has been letting them down recently has been Cajun at times. Like, I know at Gfinity he had like a map or two where he really struggled and he wasn't quite in it. So when you consider Device is also hitting that Olaf status I was talking about before, where he's averaging 100 frags if he plays a best of 5 series. Like, well, he's getting 100 frags. He's averaging 20 a map, which is the superstar status. Then you look at it, there's a lot of consistency, a lot of players you know what you're going to get from. The thing is, Cajun blows so hot and cold that it feels like if he doesn't turn up at the right time, that's the thing. He's going to turn up sooner or later, but if he's off for the wrong map, that's where it can cost TSM, especially against this elite level competition.
And we've seen actually that TSM have sort of had some problems kind of closing, games out, and most notably in Dubai, of course. Then you have DreamHack London. Where they 16-13 against Envious. There were periods of all of these matches where they were kind of close to being able to take charge, and then somehow they let their opponents back into it.
I think it's still psychological. What we keep forgetting is, we mentioned this earlier as well, is the fact that I think their average age is like, barely 20. So they're still really young guys, and that's when, even though they've been to tournaments for a long time, so we don't think about it that much, but still even though you have that experience going for yourself, going into so many tournaments, you're still easily going to get in that certain situation. It's not as easy as it seems like, even though you've been there before, it's a close situation, something in your head just ticking and not going the right direction.
And of course, Dupree as well, who's been, I think he's one of the players that I've seen the most sort of improvement in. I think even with Device hitting this godlike level, I think from where Dupree was, and we talked about the DD combo, how they would be sort of playing off each other, playing to each other's strengths. But I think Dupree now, under sort of Carrigan's rule, at the moment, his entry fragging's been ridiculous. Like, he just has that confidence.
Yeah, I want to point out Carrigan as well. I mean, I don't want him to go unnoticed either. The way he's brought to his team is a lot of innovation, a lot of individual performances. He's playing had a really good period, especially earlier this year. Not maybe as good as of recently, but generally speaking, he's been playing really well individually. But what I really like is they are really innovative with their strategies, and they do a lot of things and really do a lot of theory work behind the scenes, which is helping them out a lot.
Just some quick, we'll obviously talk about the map statistics here just briefly before we look at the head-to-head record. And obviously you can see that train statistic is right out in front. 92%. Had no idea it was actually that high coming into this. Of course, as you rightly say, it takes into account online performances, but that's still a formidable stat. Cobblestone right down there, as we said, it can be hit and miss below.
That's also
50%.
their permaban in general.
Yeah.
The one that actually surprised me is, again, why I could tell that this is online taken into performance as well, is that the win rate on Dust 2 is actually reasonably low.
Yeah.
Like, I think of Dust 2 as their best map. I think they're the best team in the whole world, and they're really amazing on that map. And on LAN, you very rarely see them lose Dust 2 unless it's like an inspired performance.
And, Mirage right up there as well, which is a map we've seen them sort of play more and more on, and seems to be sort of treating them very well right now. So there's definitely sort of strengths and weaknesses for both teams, even though I agree with what you said, Natu. They've got perhaps some of the deepest map pools of the teams here and teams in that sort of top 6.
The one that I think is interesting as well is, okay, so like I said, at the moment, TSM in theory can force Fnatic to ban Train. That's one where I think it makes sense in terms of the track record. Likewise, I think Fnatic can probably force TSM to ban Cobblestone because they always do ban it anyway. But the one that I think is really interesting is who will play chicken with Cash. Because TSM, the moment, that's been one of the shakier maps for them. They've been removing it a bunch. We saw Fnatic, they lost to Envious on it. That was the one where they haven't looked that good in quite a while on it. So I think that's the one that both of them are shaky enough on that it's like an idea of like, do we just both leave that and it might end up being the last map? Is someone going to take it out early, which gives someone else a chance to keep one that they prefer in? I think that's where the gamesmanship can happen.
I could see it slipping through and being a decider, actually. But before we get into veto, let's have a look at the head-to-head record. We've got that ready as well. Now, we did allude to some of it. We talked about what happened in Fragbite, which was the offline series that they played, the last offline series. But obviously, they did play an individual map in Dubai. Which,
so, okay, here's the thing. Game show on League, that's online.
Yeah.
Fragbite Master, this is the LAN one we talked about before, where you play the 5 maps, they won 4 of them. Dubai Invitational was a best of 1.
Yeah.
They won that one there. Face It, that's online again, and then this one's online as well, ESEA. So, couple online. The only LAN one here are these 2 here in the middle.
Yeah. And, you got to say, obviously, playing across 5 maps and winning 4 of them would definitely
pretty dominant. Yeah.
It's a dominant performance. But overall, these teams have been back and forth. It's always been a good matchup. I'll ask you, what is it stylistically, if either of you can pinpoint this? Why is it these two teams always seem to have these incredibly close series that can sort of go back and forth, and any team is capable of winning it on the day?
I mean, what I thought changed it really when TSM started beating them regularly. Yeah, obviously Carrigan's addition, etc., what he did. But the key thing he did was he made their T-side way better. And suddenly they were this team where they retained all the strengths of before, really 6 CT team that can put up the 11, 12 rounds lockdown. But then suddenly they were actually winning T-halves. And if you can win T-half on Inferno and Mirage, you're going to be one of the best in the entire world on that map. Whereas at the time, earlier in the year, Fnatic was still that CT dominant team. And if they got their 12 rounds, okay, no problem. We can grind 4 rounds out. But if you were able to get this super sick T-side on them on maps like Mirage and Inferno, and you were able to win 6, 7 rounds T-side, so they've got a really low CT half, all the pressure's on that T-half now. And they weren't that great at grinding before. That's what's changed, I think, actually, when we come into this era. Now they're not fragging as super hard as they were, so the CT half isn't quite there, but they've got really good on T-side now. We've seen a lot of these comebacks, a lot of these times where they get back into a game after a timeout. It's a T-side timeout where they change something tactically, and then they're like winning the 7 rounds in a row T-side. So we've really seen a shift from Fnatic then. I think part of that's because these other teams that came up were so good on T-side, Virtus Pro, Envious, so they had to change, otherwise they would have died out. They would have dropped down like 4th in the world or something.
It's also the fact that both teams are so equal when it comes to manpower, the firepower of the players, and TSM identifying and finding the answers how to play against the aggression that Fnatic throws at you, either side of the map, or either side of the CT or T side.
Yeah, but not only that as well. I mean, I think TSM, I like the way that there is this almost sort of unafraid kind of style that they play. They're not afraid to just push and do something random. You might see Device do this especially on Dust 2, but Dupree in particular is the guy that'll just be like, okay, there's a smoke down there. What happens if I run through it? And more often than not, it seems to work out for him. All the players have said that one of the things Carrigan really brought to the team was that he said, just go and do the unthinkable, push against the meta, and try and catch teams off guard because they have this prescribed way of playing.
What people don't see is how big of a factor is self-confidence. And a player like Carrigan, the experience he brought into this team, and being a part of teams that has won championship previously, is going to be a great asset. He's going to be able, like I said, these guys are really, really young. So that's exactly what they need. Give them a little leash, give them a little room to work that individual skill they have. Take a bit of risk. Okay, it can backfire every now and then, but the more you do it, the better you will start becoming in identifying the situations where you're supposed to be aggressive, and the more it's going to work.
And I'm told we're going to get the veto through right now, so we'll have a look and see what the maps are going to be. Sorry, it's the head-to-head first. Sorry, I have got my rundown mixed up there.
I think this means the players.
Yeah, so we picked out 2 players earlier. We know, obviously, who it's going to be. Yep. So our featured match is going to be Olofmeister versus Device. Makes sense, really. Number 1 and 2 in the player rankings that we talked about earlier over on PC Gamer, courtesy of Lurpus. And you can see, actually, I mean, these statistics, I mean, they're very, very close. I mean, we're talking about degrees here. So for all the people who think Olofmeister is kind of decisively number 1, you only have to look at the statistics here to realize that Device isn't that far behind him.
To me, here's the thing. I think these are 2 of the most similar players in the world because they have the all-around skill set. They do it in every part of the game. The pistol rounds, the rifles, the AWPs are really good on both, even though they're riflers. They're both the stars of their team. What I think makes them a little different is, the numbers are the same, but it's how they get those numbers. Like, to me, Olofmeister's more like the map that he's on, he gets like the 30 kills on. He wins tons of the 1vx. Whereas Device, it's more like he's not just going to drop the 30 bomb usually. He's going to drop the 22 bomb every time. 22 bomb, 21, 23. It'll always be really consistent. So they're both slightly different role in that sense. But in terms of all-round skill set, if you wanted to pick out 2 players in CSGO and show someone from another game, like, this is what you're capable in CSGO. If you show them this, they'd realize, like, this is what it's like when you've got like a Messi and Ronaldo. They're absolutely transcendent talents. These are the 2 best for me in the world, I think.
The biggest difference with Device now compared to before is the fact that even if TSM is losing, let's say a 16-9 game, you're always going to see Device at least at that 20 frag mark, like you pointed out. That's the biggest difference he's been able to make.
Which is night and day, obviously, from before, because before, if they lost, he'd be the guy who struggled. Whereas now it's almost like you look at other people and you say, right, you have to help Device out here. He's giving you the kills, he's giving you the chance. He's giving you the opportunity to win, and you're not helping him out. So that's very much different from the whole of his career beforehand.
And it's probably worth mentioning as well that since Olofmeister joined Fnatic, he always seems to have had that mental resilience, that kind of coolness, that it's never really been an issue for him, the sort of performance. For Device to turn it around and to add that mental toughness, especially at a young age, to find that level of consistency, that's quite a remarkable, ability to just find and pluck out of thin air when you need it.
I also think that people, at the moment, it seems like people are cooled on TSM a lot. Like when TSM was winning, everyone was like, let's get them number one, they're the best team in the world. Since then, it's true, they haven't won a tournament since Face It, but you have to realize the consistency this team has. I always give this stat, so until April of this year, Device had never played in a final in his whole career. He'd never won a title, obviously, because you have to get to a final. Since just April this year, he's played in 9 offline finals, and he's won 4 of them. Yeah. So if that's only like 5 or 6 months, we're talking about it, well, maybe like 7, but that's absolutely incredible level of performance. So you can see that just they're consistently getting there. That's why you can never write off TSM. Just because they haven't won at the moment, well, we see from Virtus Pro, when the teams are this good, if they can just get in that position, that's when they have a great game, they win the whole tournament.
So now we can get into the picks and bans. We are going to have them. Give some quick predictions.
I would guess Dust 2, Mirage, Inferno.
Let's have a look then. So we've got Mirage banned out by Fnatic. That's interesting. Second ban is Cobblestone by TSM. That's not a surprise.
No, not at all.
We saw that one coming. We'll talk about the context of the Mirage ban a little bit more. So Fnatic pick Inferno. That's their go-to map. That is kind of their home map, if you will. Dust 2 is going to be in there. So TSM, as we saw statistically, they've got a much higher win rate, and of course that takes into account online matches, which we know can be a bit of a lottery online anyway, but offline, of course, they're phenomenal on Dust 2. So then we had Cash banned out by Fnatic.
I
thought that might have snuck through, actually.
Here's the one that makes no sense, though.
Yeah.
Even TSM bans training against Fnatic. Like as we just said, offline, they've got this insane record. I think they've lost like once ever or something, or they might even be undefeated offline. So I'm very surprised by that, because obviously, here's the thing. When it comes to Overpass, that's actually one of the real 50-50s between these two teams. Like, actually, they're going backwards and forwards. One line, like ESL, it's Fnatic who wins that one, where Olaf had, like, the huge performance against Cage. And then at the next one, Face It, then it was TSM who won that. It was 16-13. So that's a nail-biter right there.
To be honest with you, I think it's just teams looking through the numbers when it comes to training. They still feel it's a bit random. So they're not super comfortable that, we really got this down right now.
Random, why?
I mean, because it's still sort of green. People still sort of feel they just don't have like the same confidence level they have playing a map like Mirage, Inferno, Dust 2, whatever. We've played for a long period of time. Instead, like Train is still we consider it a new map, so people are still not feeling comfortable picking the map as often.
What's bizarre though is considering all 3 maps that both these teams are strong on all 3.
Yeah.
Usually that would mean you can go right, no problem. 3 map series, we're going to get all the way. Actually, in a weird way, I think it actually makes it likely that one team will win 2-0, because I think whoever's playing better can win the first 2 certainly. Like if TSM gets Inferno, they're going into Dust 2 next. If Fnatic gets Inferno, they're pretty good on Dust 2 as well. So I think actually whoever wins probably will win 2-0.
Right, well, you've preempted predictions, okay. So I'll go with you, Natu. Just give you some time to maybe revise that, Natu. What do you...
Yeah, I think Inferno is going to be very interesting, because if Fnatic plays aggressive playstyle, TSM's going to struggle, especially on T's side, because they have some really good executes over that B-bomb site. But if Fnatic plays very aggressive Banana, that's going to spell a lot of trouble. So I think it's Dust 2, I feel like TSM has the upper hand on, but Inferno is going to be the decisive map of how this actually is going to turn out. I think it's going to be a 3-mapper, though. Who's going to win the third one? That's up in the air. I'm just going to guess. I'm going to guess, actually. I'm just going to say Fnatic 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing is, I think Fnatic will take Inferno. Recently, their CT side's got a lot stronger again. They've been really good on that map. I think they can get Inferno, whereas at the moment, I could DreamHack London. I saw TSM giving up a lot of rounds when they were on their CT side, so I'm a bit concerned on what they're going to do on their T side in that sense. Dust 2, I do edge it to TSM. I think they should be able to win that. Fnatic's been very good. So, hypothetically, I think that can be a TSM win. The third one, I think so 50-50. This one's really difficult. So, at the moment, okay, I'll be bold. I'm just going to say Fnatic are going to win 2-0. I think if they get Inferno, then they can get Dust 2. Because I think at that point, with the pressure off, now you can just kind of you can just go for it. You don't have to worry as much. Whereas Yeah, I think in another scenario, if it did get to overpass, I think it's very 50-50. I think it'll be 2-0 Fnatic for this one.
Well, not that my opinion matters, but based on what I've seen with TSM and Fnatic recently, I think TSM are going to add to Fnatic's misery here. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think Inferno will go to Fnatic, and then TSM will battle back and take us to an overpass. So we've got a bit of a mixed bag here.
There we go.
There's some. We need to get some bets on the table, presuming that's legal or whatever. Anyway, thanks a lot for your thoughts, guys. We'll be back on the desk. But what we're going to do now is we're going to throw over to our beautiful casters. It is the guys from PGL. It is Sadikist, #Shadows, and of course Henry G of Easy Skins fame. Take it away, boys.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened, but somehow since that analyst desk went live, I've went up about 300 followers on Twitter. I don't know if Richard knows anything about it, but I probably should make a public service announcement and say that I'm not giving away shadow daggers.
Why did I enter
Simple, I actually would, but Simple is still borrowing them, unfortunately, so I don't have them to give away.
Just a scam as usual.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Richard. The funny part was they were plotting to type on my Twitter, and I thought I was going to be back over at the analyst desk at some point. Unfortunately, that guy's flight showed up way sooner than I was ready for him to be here. And he just realized I was still logged in. And I could hear them in my ears saying that they were making this tweet, and I was like, oh, God, here we go.
Anyway.
So
that's happened.
Yeah.
But let's get to the game in hand right now. What an intense derby we have coming up. TSM versus Fnatic. How do you feel about this one?
I mean, this is one of the greatest, I think, series that's been going on all year. One of the greatest rivalries. VP TSM's another one that's been really strong, but it is the interesting aspect that TSM do have Fnatic's number. Now, Inferno, less so than the other two maps coming up. So I do kind of think Richard's theory of a 2-1 is highly possible. But if they steal Inferno, I think it's 2-0 straight away for TSM.
Dust 2, I definitely favor towards TSM here, but Inferno is such a 50-50 call. We've got Fnatic starting on the T side here, so this could go away. If they get the pistol and start running away with it, with the new patch as well, CTs are proving to be a little bit more passive these days. They can't push down with the Silent Sense 4 as much as they like, but here we go then. We go into the first map. Fnatic set on the T side, TSM on the CTs. Guys, I know it's been a long time, but get some noise in the room. Let's get some hype going.
Yeah,
there it is. Let's go.
This series is absolutely going to be awesome. I mean, this is one of the best rivalries in CS this year, and definitely always delivers in terms of skill.
So Fnatic going full armor sets here. Glocks and armor and making their way towards some sort of banana control. Dupree's going to be waiting for them though.
And they have switched things up. They've gone back to Dupree and Device right now on that B site, but we have seen them swap away from the Kerrigan Zippix. They're both over on A. This is a recent change that they made just before London, which we did see, unfortunately, Envious take that map away from them 16-13, so it never really worked out and materialized, but we'll see if it can pay off this time. It's a passive hold on Banana with 3 players in B right now from TSM, but the pressure's being applied on the A site. Bombs drop down on the exit of the lower apartments. Olof will go back and grab that, but so far no one's really spotted either side. A little bit of an exchange going on at top of Banana.
You can see that 3-man stack from TSM waiting towards Bananas with Pronax as well, just trying to keep them there as long as possible. They're grouping up in middle now. Not going to have any confrontation just yet as they slowly make their way up mid.
This is good timing from Cajun B as well to head back to Speedway because they are going to give up the arch side, but Cajun still hasn't got the call, so it is going to be on Kerrigan from Library. There's going to only have 2 men against the 4 coming into the A site, and Kerrigan, realizing it now, flashes himself out, realizes it's also going to be a wrap towards CT, and now things get awkward for TSM on how they try and control and contain these Fnatic players. Cajun B's in a great position, and Dupree, he's got the first shot, follow that up with another on Pronax, who was the only man to enter from Banana. And JW, although he still has the bomb, needs to make a decision. Killing the player in CT spawn does mean he could work back toward the B, or rather the A side if he wanted to, but Device is going to catch him before he makes that decision, and it's all down to Crims. TSM, they start this off 1-0.
That couldn't have gone any better for Fnatic. They got the prediction wrong with the 3-man setup towards B, but it actually works out perfectly for them. Kerrigan spots the 3 men going towards into Arch, going to go for the CT spawn as well, and they're already set up perfectly for that situation. They have Cajun B and his guy in the ruins as well. Crossfire comes in, make all the frags, bomb does not go down, but Fnatic will be buying into this round. They're going to get the Tech 9s, they're going to get the armor, and seeing what they can do with this. Here's the frags on your screen right now, we may have missed it. Dupree and Cajun B doing absolute work here. Fantastic silence USP working at this left. Crims there and an almost unwinnable situation. So we go round number 2. Pretty much a full SMG buy. We've just got Device on the rifle here, so they're opting in to have heavy utility just to hold off these Tech 9s. I think that's probably the right call here. You can lock the T's out for as long as possible and make sure they can't execute onto a bomb site correctly just because you can drag the time down for so long.
Device is going to be playing in a pretty safe position as well, deep toward the spools in the B site, just to make sure that that M4 is in a pretty safe position, not to be given away, more importantly, but also contained into the next round. Zippix has Pronax pushing a little bit more forward in toward the apartment. And the pressure, again, is going to come through top middle. And TSM, they've gone passive considering using these SMGs, but are still in tight angles when they try and wrap onto the site. And as the flashes do come out, Zippix is peeking forward. Luckily, KGB gets that first kill because they still needed to be aware of the fact that there was potential danger at apartments. That one smoke has actually changed Pronax's mind. He's gone away from it entirely, and they're going to try and Molotov KGB around the corner. More damage, but still no more kills coming forward, so still 4 versus 5.
Really nice round so far from TSM, making sure they just get tight angles in, get some information, fall back, and force the T's to come into the bomb site. That way they can get crossfires with these SMGs and just chew them up. Fnatic now, no utility apart from one flashbang remaining. They have got some control on middle, making their way onto Wash. You can see CTs are just ready for this as well. What can the T's do to get onto this bomb site? Crims opens it up with occasion.
This is big, actually. Crims getting that kill. If Zippix doesn't follow up immediately, then they're going to actually take the A bomb site and taking down Kerrigan. It's just Zippix that's left, 16 HP, and the 2 other players are still rotating over. So now, just getting that one kill at the front of the truck suddenly opens up the bomb site and gives them a post-plant advantage of 3 versus 2. Dupree will at least get JW as they rotate around. Keep in mind, there's no kits as well, so even though this is early on and no weapons to go against them, this still could have turned out very awkward, but TSM, they do get away with it, and they'll get the defuse.
Yeah, like you said, that kill from Crims really did open up that bomb site. It seemed like it was a perfect situation for TSM, forcing the T's to come onto that bomb site, but they're getting the opening frag, made it interesting. They got the bomb down once again, so they have to eco this one, but they will be going into the first gun round with a decent bank of cash. You can see about 3k average on the board for them, so I'd assume they can get some little P250s, maybe a couple of flashbangs or smokes perhaps. But here's that retake coming in. Dupree going for that wall bang through the bomb side box there. So now they have 4 rifles, 1 P90 still on Dupree. He's going to keep that. And we see a pause coming in from Fnatic side, which I assume is technical at this stage.
Apparently it is. Crims is calling for the admins to come over, so we'll get that resolved shortly. Fortunately, they're doing so just before we do get into the first gun round, so it won't be too much of an issue in the fact that they will only have pistols in this one.
We're not that.
But that's all right. Apparently there was sound issues as well, so
a few
they're resolving them, but as we said, it seems TSM right now, this is actually a good start again. They've got all rifles up because they did, unfortunately, lose a good amount of players in that second eco round. Does mean they buy in heavily, but if they stay efficient here, then they can still build back up the bank because they were going to have to upgrade to rifles regardless on the first gun round anyway. So it's just a battle of efficiency going against these pistols.
They just want to make sure they keep every man alive going into this round. Obviously, you can see Pronax, smoke grenade, and flashbang there. So the objective here is get the bomb down any way possible. We could see a 4-man push towards the A site, a bomb trying to sneak into B for something like that. But it's a very difficult prospect going in. But they actually have gone for 3 Deagles here. So maybe they could do something a little bit interesting. There are a lot of angles on this. You could favour pre-fire with that Deagle. So let's see how this one goes down. We're going to round number 3 now. You got HE on Crims, smoke grenade on Pronax, but CT should just be playing more of the same game, quite passive, forcing the T's to come into the bomb sites before any frags go down. They're going to get some banana control here. CT's actually going to be behind that car, so we Dupree with the P90 in hand, just trying to stay behind there. Full Fnatic waiting for them. They're not going to commit to this too much just yet.
And we talked about the swapping of players from the B to A site for TSM. One of the biggest difference that's come as a result of this is a more passive play in that banana. We're so used to seeing that deep smoke from TSM with Kerrigan and Zippix pushing down. These 2 players have played a lot more passive. Now this time it is against an eco, but it was a trend we did see in London as well.
It's the thing with the new patch as well. The silenced M4 that made it a lot more viable. With the traces being seen with the M4A4, it makes it much more difficult to force down there and pre-fire through the smoke. You just get absolutely railed through those. So Fnatic now 3 men and the bomb coming up as well, make it 4. So they've got this crossfire setup, trying to bait out flashbang. They're going to have a smoke to play as well. Dupree is trying to get his intel for device and seeing what they can do with it. The bomb's gone back towards middle though, so not committing to too much just yet. Flush is going to be left towards the banana site.
Olof's going to lead the charge again as well. And Dupree comes out the worst for wear right now. Again, using that P90, he's down to 24 HP.
30 seconds remaining now. They really do need to make a move here. Get that first frag. JW's going to face.
Watch Pronax, because Zippix is actually distracted, so it is up to him to take down Pronax. Luckily, KGB shifts over, and therefore he protects his teammate inside the pit, but eventually Olof will find that kill with the P250.
Oh.
But as we say that, Crims with the Deagle makes it interesting. I was about to say, but Crims is left in a 1-on-4. Make it a 1-on-2 because he's found 2 very quick kills. They know he's inside the bomb site. KGB's trying to use the sound, and he actually brought that to a 1-on-1. So remember what I was saying, they've already had to upgrade to rifles once. The efficiency's gone. Now they're going to be able to break them on the first gun round.
So Dupree and Device as well, left with under 4k each. Device actually on 3,400. He's got a pretty difficult round going into this one, but let's see what we can do with this. They've managed to drop guns here, so they're actually okay going into this. 1 Famis on the board, but Crim's doing some fantastic work there, considering he had 30 HP. 3 kills towards the end of that. Very expensive round for the CTs in the end. But round number 4 now is the first gun round. You can see 4 rifles coming up for Fnatic. It's going to be pretty much a decent buy with the utility as well. A few Molotovs chucked into the mix. But this is where things get interesting. CTs probably will be showing a little bit of a different setup. You can see that towards quad 2 players, leaving Arch open this time.
dupreeh and Device still both do have a smoke on that B site. They didn't throw an early one, so they're trying to play the long game. See if they can get a read on Fnatic before they expend all of them. But yeah, you're right. This is definitely a strong setup right now from TSM in terms of apartment pressure.
So it means they can watch the boost up into window and the stairs push. They're ready for any sort of situation that comes from. This is going to come to fruition now. Will they make the most of it? There it is. Zipex does take down Pronax, and they should be able to fall back in that situation, but it backfires now. Goes to the 4-on-4 and actually pits the favor back in Fnatic's field there.
Absolutely. Because it forces dupreeh to think differently about his B setup. So they've used one of the smokes to allow Device more time, and dupreeh a better position to rotate. In fact, dupreeh is going to throw out a second smoke from CT spawn. That means they're gone of smokes in the B site with a full rotation onto A. Fortunately, Fnatic is still on this side of the map as Flusha goes back to grab the bomb, but they've got tons of time to make a decision if they wanted to go back to B, if they can't find information or a pick that they're looking for on this A site. And JW's trying to, but that little bit of smoke that's still in front of Arch does actually favor the fact that dupreeh's not shown, and when he falls back through library, he's caught JW trying to rotate through. So does this indicate that it's going to go back to B? Are they trying to rotate over? KGB might be, but does he hear JW coming? Turns back, gets that kill. Now they just have to focus on the B site. 1 kill already, and Olof wants to go in against Device. Will find that kill. It means it's a trade, but the bomb's been dropped again, and with 14 seconds, all they need to do is just play the time. And they won't even need to go that far as Olof tries to take the fight. It's 4 now for TSM.
It seems like Fnatic aren't used to having this much freedom on the map. They're getting up middle almost every single time. And it seems like they're not really sure what to do with it. They know there's a very strong setup towards the A-bomb site. Big crossfires towards the pit there. And they're trying to avoid those. They get JW through the arch. 4 players towards Banana as well. But the time has been ran down so much where they haven't really found anything going up towards middle. They're forced to go into Banana. You can see 15 seconds remain on the board. dupreeh comes around and settles it there. Getting the bomb down with the Famous. It's a fantastic kill from him. Stays alive as well. And then drops Olofmeister in the end. So 4-0. TSM doing very well as they actually knock Fnatic down to another eco here. It's not going to have anything to play with really. Got some CZs and Deagles, but no grenades. So they have to once again try and work some picks.
And just an interesting note as well, the only one right now playing with the A4 is Zipex, who's holding on to the unsilenced version of the weapon. Everyone else, although we can't tell with dupreeh right now because he's got the AK out, but everyone else is still holding on to the A1. So these guys are electing not to change, and Zipex does come into play this time. He tried to go for that shuffle, bait and switch inside apartments last time, went down to Olofmeister, but this time picking up the first kill on the anti-eco does mean TSM can finally, potentially try and build a bank, because every round has been a lot closer than it should have been. You think of that Crims round, for example, with the Deagle, this time looking a lot better and a lot more organized from TSM, but as soon as I say it, Flush is able to at least knock Device down. And Kerrigan's on low HP, so they still have to be smart about this, TSM.
Yeah, they've got a rifle as well. It's going to be Flusha. You know how deadly it can be of it. Both players now coming into the B-bomb side. dupreeh, pretty strong position here, considering the T's haven't got any grenades to actually isolate that area and lock him out of the game. He sees the hold strong here, time ticking away. He knows he can hear footsteps at this stage. He's just going to be waiting, and he's got a teammate to back him up as well towards the coils area.
And dupreeh does catch Flush on the way through. And with Banana completely locked down from either side, it's a matter of time for Crims, and time has definitely run out. 5-0. Guns will come back in for Fnatic this round. And it does seem, I mean, that was the first convincing round we've had, Ecos included, so it does seem like it's a matter of time almost before Fnatic actually start to figure out what TSM are doing, so they respond by bringing out an AWP.
Yep, but the same thing as well. So JW and Carrigan AWPs now. It's been a pretty back and forth affair in terms of the economy. TSM losing players pretty much every round, especially against the Ecos as well. So they've finally stabilized that now. AWP is going to be out. Carrigan, you would assume, will be going towards middle, where he's famous playing that arch side. Let's see where he will go this time. Actually going to be, looked like they're going to stack 3 players towards B this time, but JW just holding towards the pit. And we'll get flashed off. No kills going to be exchanged. No damage as well. It's interesting considering how much aggression was shown, but Carrigan now just going to be falling back to the bomb side, potentially going up to the apps, change his position, keep things mobile.
He's going to get up there late. Does he get peeked? Olof's not yet around the corner. Now he'll go. Crims is already boosted as well, but they're falling back, and Device this time has actually pushed down into the corner on Banana, and a second smoke now coming out from support position in dupreeh. Oh, Device, this is cheeky. Look at his position right in front of the smoke, so he's waiting for them to walk through, hoping they'll flash deep, and he'll stand immediately in front of it. The problem is that smoke's soon to dissolve, so he's got to make up his mind, and now he knows that flash has come through. Does he able to dodge them? So far he is. He's behind them. They're aware of it. They turn around, and Flush is going to spam back in, and he is able to take down Device. Follow that up, though, dupreeh. He'll answer immediately, but now he needs to play safe. Flash is out to buy himself more time. This is really aggressive, considering he's all that's left on this B defense. They have rotated 1 player around now in the form of Zipex to at least help in the situation, but with 34 seconds and 4 versus 4 split up defense, Fnatic have a great chance here to go back to A.
This is actually a really good call from them. You can see Carrigan got smoked off there. He's making his way back to the bomb site. Time ticking away. Fnatic going to make their way onto the A site now.
And Xyp9x might just get there in time, but the smoke gets deployed on the arch, so now he has to go toward Library. Carrigan's picked up one, Xyp9x with the other, looking for a third on JW. He's the last one alive, and he'll take him down. That's going to conclude the round. Again, TSM, very swift rotations, but Fnatic almost a little bit slow on that approach.
Very slow. Most of the rounds, they're actually, before they didn't get enough information, they weren't getting the picks they wanted. This time they actually get that first pick onto the B site, but it took so long to achieve that pick that you saw Device holding them out with the smoke grenade towards the bottom of Banana for so long, and that allowed, you can see at this moment in the game, it's 15 seconds remaining. They haven't got enough time to actually check these key positions. They couldn't deeply check with inside the library, so this easy frags there coming around the corner, and that pits TSM to 6-0 now, and JW picks up the scout at this stage. This could be a runaway right now, so TSM, this is a big round for them. They could break the economy from the lost bonus. Let's see how this one goes down. This time, Fnatic may be working a little bit faster. It's been a problem for them getting into the bomb sites with no time remaining at all.
And dupreeh this time is going to peek out through that smoke. Flush is getting ever closer, though, in behind the archways, or the pillars. Whatever you want to call them.
Pillars is fine.
Pillars is fine. We're good with pillars.
We can work with that, don't worry.
Okay. A lot of people still think those should be gone on this map. Open things up a little bit more in that banana position, but for another debate.
Well, this time Fnatic have got full control of Banana. Before there's been presence, but getting pushed back by smoke grenades. They're going to send 4 men over there. It's going to be Olof towards the A side. He's on very low HP though, so.
And TSM's gone for the same play with the 3 aggressive on the the truck side, excuse me. So that means a longer rotation point as well.
Vice once again playing in front of that smoke. He likes doing this, but now it looks like maybe an execution coming in for Fnatic. They've done the smoke that suggests they're going to plant within the smoke, but no, so far just trying to bait out utility, it seems. Trying to see if they can get an incendiary chuck, some flashbangs, but here they go into the bomb site.
dupreeh behind the pillar, rather open position. They have got Xyp9x around in time, but as they look to him, he actually does collect that kill. Looked like it was dupreeh that hit it on our screen. Either way, it was Xyp9x. The crossfire was there, but it's gone away, and Crims walks into the site. Still need to take care of Emo, and dupreeh eventually will go down. Only picking up 1 kill in the end. It favors now Fnatic, as they've got 3 members still up low in HP, but a bad time to reload, and JW takes down Carrigan. cajunb will come back through and still has 73 HP, but still 2 players against him, and the bomb's been planted. He's got a kit, but no utilities. And Crims will stay in the site because he's got the HP to do so, but Olof's going to play inside Banana, and unfortunately for TSM, cajunb's not even going to go for it. Pick up the AWP and save it.
I think that's the right call in this situation. It's been a very hard retake, especially up against a team like Fnatic when you've got the bomb down, a crossfire set up. You don't really have much utility to work with. You can't smoke off key positions there, but that was an interesting approach for Banana from Fnatic there. Like, they actually waited, they chucked the execution smokes in, and then waited for the reaction from the CTs, and then through that smoke when it was still blooming towards the bomb site, actually focused their efforts towards CT spawn and try to isolate that player. But now they get their first round on the board. 6-1 in favor of TSM, of course. They should be able to buy here still. Actually not going to be perfect. They're saving the AWP is actually vital there. Xyp9x will be dropping an MP7 by the looks of things. He's still got 5k in the bag. But considering winning 6 in a row, that goes to show how close these rounds have been. As we go into round number 8 now, we can see Fnatic won't have the AWP once more. They're going to have the 5 AK set up, but a decent buy for them. Famus's AWPs and MP7 on device. Let's see where they go, or decide to go with this one. So far, it's been quite a slow play, either going slowly up middle or trying to get that banana control at the start of the game.
And both teams are actually extremely fragile right now. So this actually does mean a lot moving forward if Fnatic want to try and get back into this half. Because they've been fully reset. They do have the massively advantageous position right now. Device boosted up inside the B site. We haven't actually seen this boost in a while. It seems like one of those obvious boosts that we saw so commonly in the early stages of CSGO, but it's gone away since.
Once again, the Tees is getting control of the apartments, just clearing out key parts of the map. They know they can push the CTs back, that defensive setup once again, but CTs so far still keeping the crossfire true in middle. And at this point, it looks like they will be starting to fall back into these crossfire setups. It's going to be Carrigan, the AWP, still holding Arch. He'll get smoked off now. Maybe he'll decide to fall back as well.
But in they go, and around the corner, Xyp9x is also blinded up by the smoke, and cajunb's got to play from the patio. He's actually fallen off it. They've got all their attention on this apartment door. Meanwhile, the bomb's already walked into the A site. Carrigan does get JW, so he can turn his attention back toward the same position his teammates are trying to fight out of, and that will pay off here. As Pronax tries to get and does successfully put that bomb in place. Flush is going to rotate back around, and now Crims getting that kill on device. Flush is in a great spot to cut off the rotation of dupreeh, and with Pit gone, this definitely favors Fnatic. Pronax stays inside the site, and we've seen him clutch from there so many times. This time he doesn't even need to clutch. He's still got teammates in great positions, and dupreeh's able to get Flusha, but I imagine he's just going to look for exits. and slowly fade back away, holding on to the one rifle he's got.
Unfortunately for TSM there, they just didn't have the firepower to justify that really passive setup. You saw Device with the MP7 trying to make something happen at the top of mid, but two Fnatic players waiting for him. The bomb goes down there. Before the frags are really exchanged, you saw two players isolated off the smoke grenades. A nice execution for Fnatic. They're getting that bomb down before even finding the CTs there. And Pronax, easy kills for him, and that's where Device got taken down by Crims as well, just trying to find a frag towards middle, and that retakes almost impossible at last stage. You've got bomb down on the site, Fnatic set up, just waiting for you to face from the pit there. So that's actually going to break the CT economy now, and Fnatic all of a sudden, after going 6-0 down, find themselves stringing 3 together potentially. You can see Dupree has got a rifle going into this, and he's got the rest of his team with 2 CZs, silenced USPs on Zipex and Karrigan. So they're not going to be stacking anywhere too particular right now, just a 2-1-2 setup. Not really sure what they can do. Dupree's the one with the rifle. He's going to be towards Banana. He knows that's been a heavy area of contention. Just going to be facing the corner angle as well, seeing if he can get that first frag off and get the team into this round.
And they are going to get the first shot from Dupree with that rifle. This is big. Unfortunately, it's not in a position where they can recover the weapon. Device is thinking about it, but Crims won't allow that. He'll sit beside it and babysit it with the AK-47. I actually would be surprised at all if he grabbed it and threw it over the wall. As the smoke now body blocked by Dupree. That leaves a gap, but Dupree actually thinks better of it and goes in toward the site.
Once again, then, time ticking away. T's no real positional control so far. You've got Pronax at the top of mid, just scouting out the angles, whether they're actually going to be facing and doing a stack there. Sometimes the CTs will do that on their EK rounds, but they're unsure where this rifle would have rotated now. They didn't capitalize on that situation, didn't get the frag back, so they're going to be left there. Occasion B coming through the ball line, spots one. Will he be able to do anything with it? If he can find one kill, it'll be fantastic. Does a lot of damage, should be taken down here, but manages to get Pronax in the process, and now CTs definitely have the upper hand.
Absolutely. And with Olofmeister taking even further damage down to 43, it definitely starts to look very good for TSM. Now, keep in mind, Device, although he has the AK, has no armor. JW will take down Karrigan, but Zipex, he's gotten Crims before that, so it's JW with 4 HP left, and they already know exactly where he is. All they need to do is get this M4 in a great position.
Okay.
And Dupree's going to do it. They fire right back. TSM with 7 rounds.
We knew Dupree had to do something big there, facing the key angle on the corner. Fnatic, unfortunately, didn't really do enough to get him off there. A lot of teams will Molotov the top of that area and towards the sandbags as well, just to guarantee you don't even have to face those kind of angles. It pushes the CTs back, then you gain full control. They faced it clean and got punished for it. Unfortunately, that was an angle and a frag that cost them the round, it seemed. Occasion B doing big work from the boiler room now. I'm surprised he even got 1 kill. Actually managed to headshot one player, take another one down, force Fnatic onto the A site, and once again, time ticking away, forced the issue, and it's got punished as they went on there. But they're going to be the ones on eking out. Olofmeister will be buying up the AK-47 and armor, but no real utility from apart from Pronax and this one smoke grenade there.
Dupree this time playing forward again. He leads the way right now for TSM on 13 kills. Cajun B, although he's just gone down to JW, was and still is in second with 10, but Zipic's not far behind on 9. At the top 3 overall. No surprise considering the scoreline, but we'll see what they can try and do. The same approach, one rifle with pistols. And again, the man advantage for that situation is this time it's Fnatic trying to take over the A site, and JW is going to work out these apartments. Zipex is down below in the pit, but Karrigan's still unsure if he needs to watch the archway. As soon as Device arrives, he'll be able to focus more firmly inside the site. That's what he's going to do, and Olaf still lurking around is running out of teammates, but great shot to take down. Zipex turns his attention back very quickly, snaps to the left, and Device goes low, but still wins away with the frag.
Oh.
Not for long. Crims, though, brilliant shot, and we might be seeing the exact same situation in reverse. As Dupree is the last alive. Doesn't take any damage killing the first member, though. That gives him a better chance in the 1-on-2, but still needs to be aware of this potential crossfire setup because JW's inside the pit with the M4. Flash goes in onto him, but it actually blinds up Dupree worse. And Crims is just going to wait for him to fall into the crosshairs, and Fnatic gets straight back.
Back-to-back, ecos prevail. They actually did the exact same buy. 1 AK coming into it, managed to pick up those first frag, and then Olofmeister getting that clean shot onto the bomb site, whips round and gets the shot onto Library as well. So fantastic work from him. And Fnatic get the third on the board. There really is going to be a back-and-forth series, I feel. Very high-skill players going into these eco rounds. Buying up 1 AK is so viable for them. If they can get their strongest player to find those early frags, it could be so disastrous for the opposite team. So now Device could be rolling the AWP. It's been Karrigan wielding that so far. A little force buy from them once again. They're going to have 2 CZs, 2 rifles, and an AWP. No kits, and a glass cannon for Device as well.
Perfectly timed flashbang as well, so the AWP's position in B doesn't really amount to anything, and now they're forced very passively back towards CT. Device still manages to pick up 1 on Crims. So the rotation to spool from Dupree and no smoke on Device does actually mean that they can secure And a late smoke at the top of Banana will slow them further. They're going to rotate and switch this off, bring Kerrigan back over to the B site.
The thing is now, the CTs have no utility whatsoever to hold off this execution that could be coming in from Fnatic. They've got Molotovs, smoke grenades going in, and here we go.
And they go through with only 2 members on that B site because Device went all the way toward A. Dupree's trying to dodge around by getting into Orange's 1, use the smoke to his advantage, and Kerrigan will take Olofmeister, who is searching for him in the meantime. But JW gets back into him. Luckily, Dupree, he stays patient. Massive damage done onto the 2 remaining players as well. So despite only picking up the 1 kill, he's done a massive job for his team. Well played JW to poke through with that no-scope, but Device was right there to cancel it, and Cajun B will close the last remaining player away. And they'll get yet another defuse on TSM's side.
So 4 spies working out once again. They didn't have any kids to play with. They had 2 CZs on the map, 2 rifles and an AWP, and now they're going to be picking up 2 AWPs on Inferno. It's quite an interesting setup. Very difficult to retake bomb sites. If you lose the first man towards B and you have to retake the AWP, it could be interesting, but they're going to roll with it and see what they can do. Money's not going to be too bad for that. They've got Olofmeister on $2,000 there, but I'm sure he'll be buying in with the Tech 9. Pronak's still deciding how they're going to approach this one. Olofmeister yet to buy, so what's Pronak's got off his sleeve here? Are they going to be... Oh, a pause. That's why
we got a chair from Dupree. Apparently the chair broke.
Too much excitement.
Too much excitement.
Well, 8-3. These have been very scrappy rounds, very back and forth fair, right? It just seems like the 4 spies are stronger than the actual rifle rounds, some of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's definitely been that way. And we talked about the economy potential to be broken while both teams still sit on the same problem because it's been that way, so.
Sure.
I'll be interested to see how this double op pans out. I do expect who's got the better spawn. Device has a perfect B spawn and Cajun's got a perfect mid spawn.
The dream setup is here, get 1 player with the AWP to the car and just leave him there. If he can get full control of that and actually force the T's back and scare them off, find that first frag, that's amazing. It means they can have 4 players towards A.
Well, and we talk about Banana all the time being like the mid of other maps, and the fact that if you control it, you can control it with 1 player and have 4 rotate to A, or 1 early rotate and 4 on A. That's becoming less and less common, though, with the current patch.
Yeah. Pre-patch, that was the game. You started off, you started playing very aggressive play, sending 2 players there, smoking them out, and not allowing them to get break through that force field. And then at that point, when you realise you actually won that, and you've got that advantage in your favour, you can just start playing 1 player towards there. And if it starts working out for you, you can have 4 players towards the A bomb site. It can be an absolute dream come true. Let's have a look at a few highlights here. There's that pistol round, that great setup from Dupree, and Cajun B there finishes it off with Device and the kill. But 3 rounds for Fnatic so far. Still 4 more to go. Let's see how this one pans out. Is obviously going to be one of the defining rounds, considering economy is not great in either camp. Fnatic once again up against the ropes here. They have got a few bits of utility play. We've got 2 smoke grenades, 3 Molotovs, but so far they've been gifted middle quite a lot of times. They're allowed to walk up there. Team TSM are, unless they have the AWP, are allowing them to even get full control, and it seems like it's actually not working out for Fnatic. Most teams would love that, but it seems like they want the kills. They want to have the opportunity to kill you, and they're wasting so much time getting onto that bomb site in that scenario. It seems like that's been a problem for them, but they have bounced back, got 3 on the board after losing to that eco round. But the chair should be fixed now, is it?
Let's hope so. It looks that way. As they've called for the unpause, we'll jump right back into it. So again, 8-3 TSM lead. This is map 1. Of course, we go to Dust 2 next, and I think we've all speculated that if TSM can pull this off on Inferno, then it should be theirs to take in 2, but we'll see how this plays out. 2 AWPs, 1 for Cajun B, 1 for Device, and that means 1 on either site. With Device looking to get aggressive, Cajun B's already in position at top of middle. He had such a good spawn for it, but Device doesn't actually take that peek toward car like you were saying, so now he has to play strictly from the crossfire, and he scopes away, and
he's overcommitted
that's a super questionable peek. I like how JW tried to pick up the op and go for a fast no-scope, but Dupree gets him, not the other. Flusha walks in, and now they've got the B site smoked off as well on the CT connector. Means that Cajun B, who has that other AWP, can't even get in a good enough position to fire back in. And with Olofmeister that deeply down Banana, Xyp9x and Kerrigan don't even attempt to try and circle on the fringes of the site and attempt to retake. They're just going to save from TSM and give up the 4th round to Fnatic.
Device really overcommitted there. He got grenaded down to low HP, missed the first shot. At that point, just get the hell out of that position. Like, get yourself to the back right of the site, go for some kills across it. But the thing is, Fnatic actually made a really good call there. As soon as they took him down, they made the assertive play to actually go for the smoke and use the man advantage. It doesn't matter if a man died there. As soon as they killed Dupree, then they're back into it. That's the round completely locked down. Considering the buy the CTs have as well, they had the P90 on the board, and Cajun B with the AWP as well. He just wanted to make sure that retake wasn't worth the percentage chance that they had going into that one. So Fnatic, pretty simple round there. Doesn't really take much tactically. They just go for that first pick at the top of Banana. Thankfully, it was there. Presented to them by Device, who made, like you said, a questionable decision to keep facing. He gets taken out. They push through the smoke, and that's all it takes sometimes. So That's the fourth round on the board for Fnatic. You can see TSM still can justify buy up into this. It's going to be a ropey buy, 2 Famises and a P90 here. I'd assume they want to do something maybe a little bit more aggressive. They want to try and get that early frag, considering the lack of firepower they have going into this one. Actually, a 3-man setup towards B. That's the kind of play I was kind of hoping for. Aggressive push down to B as well.
And there's that smoke that they've normally thrown out. Again, we talked about how that was more the TSM we came to know inside the B site. Since they've switched players and potentially, like you're saying, the patch as well, haven't seen this really deep push. But with the P90 and Device's hands toward tree, this could actually work out well for them. JW is one of the players known for being able to find shots through this smoke, though, and already they've got him boosted above with the AWP. Does he spot him? I'm not sure if he spotted dupreeh there or not, because he definitely turned his attention back in that direction.
So the T's now waiting for that smoke. It's buying their time. They know the CTs can't really justify staying there once the smoke is depleted. So they once again got to get that banana control. And the problem is for CTs now, because they didn't really get that much from it, apart from a little bit of a delay, there's still 1 minute remaining. They don't have the smokes now to actually hold them off for much longer. So flash pushes could be viable here. Just trying to go for that early frag, even a bit of information. But now the T's opting to go back towards the A-bomb side, it seems. 40 seconds remaining. They need to make sure they get this mid control back. They can't spend too much time clearing out these areas. They want to execute onto the site in the next 10 seconds. So there it is. The smokes come down. And it should be a fast play from now on.
And that smoke's off. Pit, there's the one in front of Library as well. So Cajun B rendered useless with the AWP. Tries to get an aggressive angle, but they're getting closer. It works out, actually, as he takes down Pronax, but Flusha will catch him in the open. And now Xyp9x has to wait this out. If he can hold this position, if they can keep control of Pit, there's a great chance on the retake. And through the smoke, he does get JW. But Crims was not planting in default, so the bomb still goes down in behind the box as Flusha cuts off the rotation and takes Device before he can even get to the bomb site. Karrigan tries to fight his way out of Pit now as well. And they do. No, don't. I thought he was going to get that shot on Crims. They don't actually secure it. He stays alive with 21 HP, and Flusha catching dupreeh. It's going to improve for Fnatic as they'll go on to 8-5, and they're crawling back into this. It's not a done deal at all.
Yeah, TSM, tough times from them. Really did commit to that banana push. Everything they had in terms of utility was used in that position and just didn't get too much from it. Very disciplined play from Fnatic. Went for the boost, didn't really see much about it. Waited for the smokes to come in, pushed the TCs back, and then went straight back to A. Took away that information, and then just coming in with a nice little execute there. The CTs, once again, bomb goes down. They've got 2 CTs in the pit, but they just have no real chance of the smokes that have gone down to actually do anything about it. So they're going to be on the full eco this time. It's not really much they can do. They've got CZ, a couple of P250s, but nothing else to speak of. And Pronax has read that. He gets the Mach 10, which allows him to be the recon player. He can go into positions first, and even if he dies against armor players, that weapon's pretty weak. And he can even if he dies, he's cool. Okay, guys, it's a stack here. Go back to the other side. Get in there quickly. And let's see whether that comes to fruition here as he makes his way over towards the B site.
Pronax is going to be the first one through again, as you always talk about, that SMG. Finding the information. Krim is getting dupreeh, and now Device just burning alive inside the water. Apparently it's oil, not water. I don't know how those fish survive in there, but they do. As Olofmeister takes down Agent B, and it's going to be very swift. All 5 players stay alive for Fnatic as we head on to round 15, the last round of the first half, and it will give TSM a chance to buy back in, but only just. They've got the Mag 7 for Device and FAMAS for Cajun B.
No kits as well, so this is another round. They can't really allow the execute to come in. If the bomb goes down once again, without being any frags being exchanged on the A-bomb side, that's going to be an absolute nightmare. They can't afford to be that passive and allow those smokes to come down in front of the pit, which lock out those CT players. They need to make sure they're a bit more on the ball this time and actually going for more of a crossfire setup towards middle. They need to utilize that Mag 7 as well. You'd assume Device is going towards the apartment area, perhaps. They're actually going to stick in towards B with that, so that's a viable as well. JW, though, not messing around. He's getting straight towards the top of middle. Knows they have the economic advantage here. Smoked off, though.
Yep, and the same problem is going to happen for dupreeh if they try and push onto this B site. Naturally, they'll smoke off that CT connector, so he'll have a decision to make. If he plays bait for Device, or if he rotates through construction. Instead, they're actually just going to smoke off the top one, and he's going to work back over toward the A site and join in with the rest of his team. Bomb's not committed either way, though. And again, I talk about utility and how important it is on Inferno and how important the economy is. Well, they've baited out a lot of the utility already from the CT side. In fact, there's only 1 smoke grenade remaining, and it's now just been deployed by Xyp9x.
They need to commit to something like a flash push. They need to find 1 frag, even if they don't get the kill, just to get the info as where the T's may be dwelling here. But so far, 2-1-2 setup, not really going to have too much to play with so far. As the T's just feeling out the map as well. That execution coming in. This could be the fake, you know, as the bombs towards B. It's exactly the same play as last round, but they're actually just trying to pull CTs towards it. Karrigan does take down Pronax, though.
Does start them off well. Again, though, there's a full split going on right now with Olofmeister taking down Kerrigan. This will hold the other two players on the A site without knowing. Cajun B does get back, but the problem is they're walking into B. It's going to come up to Device with this shotgun. He's still got decent health, but he's getting forced back further and further until he hits 2. The Mag 7 shows up, and it shows up just in time for TSM. A potential to get their 9th round, and that would be huge. But watch JW.
Hello.
Cajun B hears him coming just a little bit too late, so he is able to take down one more, but it's done. It's over. He's got no bomb, and it's 2 seconds left on the clock. It will be 9-6 at half. And have TSM done enough? That's really, the question.
That's a really interesting round, right? Because they did the exact same play, sold it exactly the same way. CT didn't really have information. They had no positional control, but still, that same set play coming in, smokes in front of the pit, and actually showed some decent presence towards A as well. I thought the CTs would take the bait in that scenario, but they stuck with their guns and actually decided to stay towards the B bomb side. Really well read from Kerrigan there, and keep that Max 7 towards the back of B, and somehow Device pulls up 2 huge frags. We didn't get to see on our screen. Let's see how he did that. Nice little headshot and gets the bomb as well. Fantastic play. That's a pretty big round considering the scoreline here. 9-6 going into this second half. TSM, very good start for them. Dropped off towards the end, but that last round, I think, secured a decent half for them.
I mean, yeah, keep in mind it was 6-0 at a point. So
yeah. But so, like, the force buys and the ecos as well, we knew that was going to be happening, as it seems it always does when you have players of this caliber on the server. You never can write off even just 1 AK and 4 pistols. It can be so strong. We saw Device do it on the CT side, and we saw Olofmeister doing the same thing. So expect to see more of that kind of high-octane action, unpredictable rounds, even rounds I kind of say, oh, this is almost the end of it, it's throwaway. But you never, against these kind of players on the server, you can never really say that, in my opinion. That's why I do say it.
And I noticed Pronex has his headset out, so I'm
so
not sure of the issue. I haven't seen anything pop up in the server, but hopefully nothing serious. Remember, TSM, they did also, as I mentioned, it goes without saying, but 6-0 start. They won the first pistol. And if Fnatic win it here going out of the CT side, it's potential to be knotted up at 9 before we even get into the guns, which would take the lead instantly away from TSM.
That would be interesting to see whether that went down, but I don't think it'd be a clear 3-0 for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, these top teams, they're so stubborn when it comes to these second round buys. They know the CTs that are up against the ropes a little bit, so they always force buy into the second round, regardless where they got the bomb down. We saw Fnatic do it. They were unlucky. They didn't actually manage to convert it to a round victory, but they definitely did some economic damage going through the next few rounds there. That's what we saw the first few gun rounds actually being difficult for TSM because they lost so much money. They didn't get the AWP rolling until about the 6th round. But yeah, if you're just joining us, this is the first map between TSM and Fnatic. The first score was 9-6 in favour of TSM on the CT side, but Fnatic bouncing back, like you said, after going 6-0 down and managing to get themselves back into the game. Fnatic do give themselves a decent half and a good platform for the second round.
The one thing I will say is the history between these two teams on this map. When TSM started in the T side or have gone on to the T side halves, the one thing that in the past has been like their saving grace in terms of getting an early momentum is the fact that Fnatic are really aggressive on force buys as well. So if they win the pistol, Fnatic need to stay patient. Yep. I know it does put them down and potentially at something like 12-6, but stay patient with the economy and start to build back into it. Because even if you go back to last season in the regular season for PGL, there was a game, I think, when it was like 9-2 for TSM at a point on the T side, strictly because the CTs never had the economy. They never had the smokes to shut down Banana. They never had the guns. They never had the kits, and it just spiraled. Even though the rounds were close in a lot of ways and the economy was kept fairly level, they just never had enough to close out the rounds.
Especially
and it was a massive problem.
When you have teams that rely heavily on AWP players, so for example, Navi, they've got Guardian, and they have Mouse Sports relying on Chris J. They're teams that have let themselves down in the past just by being stubborn with those force buys and not allowing themselves to build a decent CT economy. It means their key players don't get used to the AWP, and when they do, it's a very difficult buy. You have no armor or no utility to play with, and more the defensive AWPers really do rely on that sort of thing. That's when games can actually be lost just down to some big decisions made earlier on in the game, trying to bounce back quicker than potentially you were expected to. But obviously, teams like Envious, they make it work all the time. You see them force buy, and I think at Gfinity as well. I don't think we saw them, even after losing Pistol, it would feel like every single buy back into it, they somehow find some footing into those rounds. That's why it is definitely viable. But if you're playing the percentages game in terms of the grand scheme of the whole match, waiting to have the full buy is obviously my favourite prospect.
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, it is harder to rebuild the economy on a CT side. So if they can manage it from the very beginning, it gives them a much better chance. Obviously, if they pick up the pistol, even better. And we are about to get said pistol underway. So we'll find out right now. Just to go back to your envious point, though, keep in mind they're always the team that with pistols is the most lethal.
Absolutely.
So you can never really blame them for trying to catch opponents off guard in that sense.
So then, here we go. Second half is going to be TSM on the T half now. They've got 4 sets of armor. Utility player is going to be Kerrigan. He has got the smokes and flashbangs, but they've got those decoys as well. We know these guys can be inventive with those and actually sell some fakes here, but going for fast banana control. Going to force the CTs back and actually headshot Crims there in the process.
JW gets right back into the other, though, on the A site. Aggressive peek. Catches off Xyp9x. Kerrigan still has bomb on the T-stairs right now, so they've yet to commit, and having gone down a man, they hesitate to do so. They slow it up, and Olofmeister actually hits Device. He got the initial damage onto Olof. In fact, look at the HP on both Crims and Olof, 5 and 4.
His T's aren't going to be aware of that just yet. They make their way back towards middle, but it seems like they've had a change of heart and will be going back towards B. Probably the good option considering the HP. You can see some backup and a change of man swapping out. Actually, I actually like that. So Flush is going to come in, tag out Olofmeister there and see whether he can actually hold them off. Smoke going in towards CT spawn, and you'd assume this is the final execution now from TSM.
And without swapping that, would have been 9 HP total to hold this B site, so this is huge. But Flush is forced to rotate back through CT, or rather in construction, due to those smokes, and that gives KGB the time to take down Crims. And now Flush has got to slow things up. Olofmeister wants to come back in directly through the smoke at CT. Bomb's going to go down, but Flush has managed to pick up Dupree in the meantime. And as they get closer, it's down to just Kerrigan, and he's spotted by Pronax from CT as he goes back out. He manages to at least get one with that Glock, but Flush is still there. And it is going to be the pistol round 2 Fnatic. So now we've got a real game on our hands. And TSM, they've got to find a way back in immediately. Yeah,
millimeters separating that round, Matt. Just the fact that the headshots made and no kills converted. They did really well to get Crims down to low HP. And then somehow the headshot through the smoke there on top of Banana. TSM do get the bomb down though. So, oh God, I was going to say they can buy up next round. But they're all in. They're going for this right now. They've picked up an AK. They're going to drop that to Dupree, who will buy up armor. They've got UMPs as well. So they're not going to go just for Tech 9s here. They're going for the rifles here. And considering the buy that Fnatic have got as well, they've got 2 SMGs on the board. If they find the early kills here, this could be really viable. Let's see how it goes down. But Fnatic definitely have a difficult round ahead of them. It's not going to be as clean cut as we may have thought, considering I thought this would be the full eco of the AK's next round. Big investment and potential disaster for TSM if he loses one.
Well, and perhaps knowing, as we said, that if this goes to 9-9, suddenly them on the T side does put them on the back foot. So if they can find a way to catch Fnatic off guard and win the economic duel early on, then extend that lead, having not won the pistol. It's exactly what they attempt to do. And Dupree starting it off well. JW down, forcing the defense to split. They're going to leave just Crims on the B side. Bombs in Kerrigan's hands, and he's actually back toward the bottom of middle, so he can go banana quite quickly if they make that call.
See, the CTs weren't really expecting that. A really aggressive face towards the bedroom. I wouldn't have expected an AK in that position. Dupree opens it up fantastically there, and he still keeps a full bank of health as well. They're going to show some awareness towards the B bomb side. That's going to be Cajun B, just feeling it out and see if he can get any intel in terms of footsteps or little nuances he can pick up on. It looks like now TSM will be doing the similar fashion to Fnatic did. Get control of middle first and see if you can push the CTs back to the bomb side. Then you can go for your execution from there. The problem is they've got one smoke to play with. They need to find another. A much easier affair for themselves.
They're grouping. They want A.
25 seconds now.
Well, they've got to commit. Excuse me, as I've lost my voice.
Do you want me to take over? Okay,
please,
so
if you will.
TSM will be making their way around to quad. Dupree opens up with yet another frag. Headshot onto Pronax. Going on to the A bomb side now. CTs don't have any control of this, and they have no choice but to save here whatsoever. That's a really big round there from Dupree. Gets the 2 frags, and that's all they need to actually secure the round. So that AK investment we thought could be devastating for them pays off fantastically. It's an old kind of 1.6 play we see a lot back in the day. It really is viable if you get the frags in the first round and able to get the armor, the AK drop to E by armor onto one of your best rifles with Dupree. Definitely can herald that sort of title. Gets those frags, and the CTs now you can see just all cowering towards the B bomb site. And that's a really big round for TSM.
Well, it's uncharacteristic as well for TSM to attempt to try and do that. I mean, this isn't something we normally see, so it's definitely a response to the fact that they want a cushion on this T side. And it did come down to that. First, that one pick. Obviously, 3 players still alive, but splitting the defense 2 on either side. All they did was walk into A. So that was a pretty impressive call. And now, although they're still low on money, they've got the heavy advantage. But look at the response.
Well, the CTs did save 3 guns there. So they're going to have 2 pistol players in the form of Pronax and JW.
But they've got smoke on everyone. And that's crucial right now against this still slightly weakened. It's not a full bot TSM. They've got 2 SMGs in play, so they should let Kerrigan and Xyp9x find the information.
Let's see what goes down now. They've got 2 SMG players, as you said. But the CTs with a decent amount of utility. They've got Incendiary and Olof as well. 2 rifles to play with in terms of a Famous and an M4. They're going for some early aggression towards Banana, but doing a decent amount of damage to Device so far. But the T's still playing this very passively. Just want to get control of apartments first before they work out what's going on. They know the rifles did stay in the hands of the CTs last round.
Flusha trying to spam through that smoke at the top of middle. Counter flash, but no one pushing through. Dupree's in a great spot, though, having gotten inside Boiler. And he's just going to be patient, slowly looking onto that stairwell, and now he'll walk into the hallway. Depends on how much trust they have in Dupree's information right now, because they did have 3 players in Banana, but slowly they're rotating away, and JW's come up the stairwell. Is he going to walk into it? We're not on the camera with him as we watch Crims flash down Banana, but there's a really awkward confrontation going on over at A, and it does go the way of Dupree, as JW is entirely unaware that he worked his way into Boiler. Watch Crims, though. They haven't checked the sandbag position, and he lines them up as he pops out, and neither of them looking correct direction at all. And just an uncharacteristic error. TSM not checking corners, knowing that it's going to be an unorthodox buy right now from Fnatic, and they're still not out of the woods yet. They're going to walk by Pronax, and he'll drop the bomb as well. Xyp9x may have gotten Flusha, but now it's just him 1-on-3. He does manage to go back and at least secure the bomb, but they've got his position triangulated as Crims has walked down Banana as well. And Xyp9x has to fight himself out. Can't. Time's gone. It will be Fnatic coming back immediately.
Once again, those kind of obvious positions not really being flushed out correctly. They had Molotovs to play with. The team were there, and you can see that synergy from the CTs. Great use of the flashbang there, but you can see there was decent amount of, they could have used some sort of grenade. They weren't even aware that position would be a problem for them. You can see them getting blinded up, and that UMP paying dividends there as they take the 8th round on the board as we go into number 19 now. But T's will be buying straight back into this. AK-47s, the CTs definitely haven't really neutralized things. They've got a Mag 7, but saying that JW is going to be the one wielding, and we know how dangerous he can be on this map with that weapon. Crim's going to the top once again. The sandbags area worked out so well for him. He's going to be going there once again.
So this goes back to a more standard formation. It's been the most unorthodox start to a half. It has to be said. Both teams still in a position to break the other with this one round. Yep. TSM perhaps more desperate to do so, given that they're on the T side.
Absolutely.
As Device starts to look up Banana, but that mid-smoke right now does give Crims a bit of movement. He hasn't gone back in toward the sandbags, but he is aggressively beyond the corner near the cart. He's thought better of it as Olof's rotated away. So 4 players close to B. I won't say, or rather close to A. I won't say NA. Olof's still on that speedway, but he's able to get there quick enough if Kerrigan were to walk around the corner. And Cajun B, he's intentionally dropped the bomb back down at the top of alt middle so they can go investigate this. It's for Device to pick up on the way by, so it will be another A commitment.
Well, now then, again, the game is just push the CTs back and see what you can do from that position. Pronax going to be caught on grave out there. Dupree takes down JW, and now TSM come to life. So they make their way to the aim bomb site. Cajun B chimes in with another, and they answer straight back as well. Every single round seems to be back-to-back, but it's going to leave Fnatic in an almost impossible situation here. As they have 2 men remaining, it's going to have to save.
They have to save them, absolutely.
So, there you go, Matt. I know you were dying. Have some
Thank
water.
you.
So, very slow players coming in from Booz. It hasn't been a very tactical game in terms of deep tactics going into it, and the strategy. It's just about clearing the key areas. They get towards Banana at the start, push the CTs back, and mid seems to be an area the CTs are more than happy to leave open now. 6 months ago, that was a really heavy area where you have crossfire set up, you sometimes send 3 men there. They're actually allowing the T's to walk up. Crims just going to find a kill onto Device, but not going to amount to much. They just want to save their guns at this stage. A bomb goes off.
And not putting the pressure on that crossfire puts so much more importance on Pit and holding that position, because we saw in the first half when Xyp9x went down in that Pit position, then Fnatic won every single round that he died. Yeah. They could walk into the A site, plant default, set up smokes in front of library, and hold the post plant position so easily. Even the round that they didn't get that kill and walk in and still get the plant, Xyp9x was able to pick up 2 kills before it was eventually secured by Fnatic. So if you're going to be that passive, it puts so much importance on that spot.
Well, now then, after winning that one round and losing the subsequent round, Fnatic only get $1,400 going into this one, but they have got in with a decent buy. Not terrible. Got 1 Mag 7 and then Pronax on the pistol. They have managed to get 3 rifles on the board. 3 kits as well. They have a decent utility, but JW going aggressive towards the apartments here. Got to get spam. Not going to take any damage just yet, but TSM definitely aware as to what may be going on. So you're going to be playing quite slowly once again. Just going towards that banana area. Device leading the charge here, waiting for any sort of CTs to push him. And it's looking towards that smoke as well, seeing if a boost is coming in. That can be quite a popular tactic, boosting over the smoke out the car area.
Oh, did they spot Crims jumping? I'm not sure he'll get away from this, and he doesn't. Cajun B and Device combined for the spray, so even when he walked, he fell into another trap, as it is Cajun B who secured the kill. They did time the smokes quite well, Fnatic, I have to say. It was almost perfect. 11 seconds in as it started to fade, the second one bloomed, but now another man advantage against this again. I'll say unorthodox buy because it's just not stabilized yet for either side. But with this round, TSM will put them in a great position to do so. First time they've had all 5 rifles up as opposed to rifles, shotguns, SMGs, whatever the lot would so be able to afford.
And
with the bomb down, they're going to have to save again on Fnatic's side because the situation's no better. $300 at best right now for Flusha.
Yeah, it was a difficult buy for them. They had the 2 players on the Mag 7 and the pistol round, but
This is
TSM
smart.
hunting this time, right? They know the money situation is so poor in the CT camp, but they lose this round. So Zipex made the call. He's going to lead the charge here, trying to find anyone he can. Molotov's that back right position. Knows no one's there. Takes down Flusha now. Last 2 players going to be towards Ruins. It's going to be Olaf. Knows he's being hunted right now. They Molotov it off. JW picks up 1 frag, and now they know his position at least. They should be able to take him down. But there he goes. He pushes through and keeps the pressure on with that Mag 7. And he should stay alive here with the AK in hand as well. So not a bad outcome for him. But he's the only man to survive from the CT camp. So TSM definitely in the driving seat in terms of the money right now. And Fnatic taking one of their magical pauses. We know what happens to
Well,
this.
absolutely. And we saw what happened with Team Liquid doing a pause. It is an interesting statistic. And I do believe someone tweeted me the other day saying that they were compiling all the stats from the last 3 months post-pause to see if there was a trend there. I think
We
it
saw it
does favor
today,
the pause
like you
team.
said.
Yep.
The Liquid, like 8-0 down. Take a pause, get 5 rounds in a row.
Yep.
Happened at the major. Fnatic take a pause, somehow blast their way back into it. It's a really interesting thing, and an anomaly. So no one really can explain as to why it happens. Obviously, it's a time to slow down that kind of adrenaline rush that the opposing team may be on. They're doing so well, hitting all their shots, finding their rhythm, and then as soon as you take the pause, they start second-guessing what you're going to be bringing to the table next round. Maybe they change up their play. It's too much time to think about what's going on, and so it's a little bit of a mind game there. Obviously, it slows down the pace of play. That the other team are adapting to what you're doing, so you try and adapt back, and it's a big mind game in that sort of scenario. So it is definitely when you're losing rounds after round, take a pause. Some teams forget to do it. We do see teams throw away games. And actually, why didn't you pause it?
Useless not to
probably
do.
should've done that.
It's you have one. Why would you never not use it? Especially if no matter what round. If you're down 2 rounds, if you're down 8, use it. You've got it. I mean, it's there for that exact reason. But TSM, like you said, are in the driver's seat. And it's interesting. When they do get to that 12-round start, we said that they could get by winning the pistol. This was the most interesting way to get there. This was back and forth. But, I mean, it's exciting in the sense that any round could have shaped the entire game still. And with TSM on the T side, it's still not guaranteed for them. Yes, they've got a great chance here to pick up another anti-eco.
It's not clean cut, though. Look at that.
They've got the AK on JW,
Yeah.
exactly. If he puts himself in the right position and can find the early picks, then suddenly things change.
Well, let's take a time to look at the scoreboard here. We can see Dupree doesn't surprise me. He's going to be top fragging here. He's had some really strong performances going into it in terms of entry frags, getting to the bomb sites, and that second round buy with the AK as well. He did one round hands down. Only 2 frags required to take it. So here we go. The unpause coming in now. So see Fnatic, I'm going to be full buying this. JW did save that AK from last round. So the guys will be getting some P250s on the board. They're not going to be investing too heavily, but like I said, a man like JW with the AK, we saw Dupree do on the CT side. If you can find a favourable angle, go for that first frag. It knocks the Ts off their confidence, and they have to reform and see what they can do. So JW will be going towards mid by himself. The rest of the guys stacking towards the B bomb site here.
Pronax, Olofmeister, and Crims all with pressure on Banana, but Pronax is the only one that actually goes beyond the fringes of the bomb site. He's behind the sandbags as Device and KGB approach with aggression yet again. And they've stacked up that B side. They've left the AK on its own, so they've got a lot of faith in JW right now. They're not actually going to play off the back of it. They're going to play it with a stack and hope that it can secure at least enough at A to make things interesting. And he's actually getting really aggressive at the top of middle right now as well. So if he gets an early pick on Kerrigan, who looks to be setting up smokes right now, it could start off. Bombs down as well, so he can be able to make that call. Flusha will lead off the B side as a result of it. As TSM go down a man early, Cajun B still wants into this B site, though, so he's going to walk forward. Smoke on the CT connector, but watch out because they've got one on each orange. And 1 peek would be enough with these pistols if they can find the early shot. Crims goes out, does eventually hit the headshot, but goes down in the process. Now Cajun B needs to be even more careful, and smartly he Molotovs Emo, and all Device has to do is cover off the angle, but Cajun B, he does eventually go down. Bombs come over to join it. It's in the hands of... It looks like Zipix at this point in time, but watch out for the flank here as Dupree does manage to take off JW, fortunately, before he gets close enough to the bomb site. They get the bomb plant, doesn't matter. 13 rounds TSM.
Yeah, they only dropped 2 frags there, but it wasn't as clean cut as it looked. JW pushing out the middle area. That's exactly what you need to do. Like, if you're not getting spotted at the bottom of mid, it's questionable why TSM didn't have anyone even just watching that angle, giving him a lot of freedom while the guys were setting up their smokes. He comes down, finds that first frag, decides to fall back in that scenario. The stack does work out for TSM, but unable to have the firepower to really do anything about it. The Molotovs flushing them out and not able to stack as well as they'd like. But now then, JW does pick up the AWP. That pause is probably what they talked about. We need to mix things up. What can we do here? JW known for his aggressive style here, pushing into bedroom, pushing down the stairs, trying to get those first frags here. So they're going to try and do more of that. There's going to be no AWP for TSM just yet. So more of the same for them, just filling out the map, trying to gain positional control. But it's going to come to that man, JW, whether Fnatic can start bouncing back in this series.
And this is really the first full-on proper gun round we've had, believe it or not. As it just has been that kind of game. TSM forcing their hand early. So 6 rounds in on the second half is when we arrive at this point. And it's still fairly fragile in the fact that, although it won't matter they don't have head armor, they're completely glass cannon on JW with no kits, and they've already used a good amount of utility. Smoke's coming off at Crim's belt now. Will weaken the defense significantly more. 3 smokes deployed on B right now, so TSM trying to throw that fake. It does pull Flusha toward Olofmeister on top of that Speedway position, but they are coming back over toward A as dupreeh picks up that first pick, and they aren't walking in on this. TSM, this is almost a double fake in a way, because after those picks, they know the rotations have to come back, so they've taken the bomb to Banana, and they'll walk in. It's just Crims that waits. Now the difference is, as that flash cusses all of them. Well played by Fnatic as they set up the crossfire. They don't have the smokes, was the point I was going to make, because they've already used them, so they have to go in naked and try and catch off the Fnatic players, and Crims is still at oranges too. If they don't check this and spot him early, it could have been a problem, but Kerrigan is wise to that. It's still not done though. He puts the bomb down, but it's 1 versus 2. Great shot on Flusha as he manages to pull it off, but down to 24 HP. JW with an AWP is approaching, has 100 HP, and he's going to hit the shot. Fnatic, a great flash to slow down what was a very fast push on B, and it gives them the round.
We said JW was going to be the man to watch the round, and he picks up 3 frags and wins the one-on-one clutch as well. That first frag coming from dupreeh opens up the map once again, but JW replies in great rotations there from Fnatic. They read it perfectly. A lot closer than they would have perhaps liked, considering there's a 2-on-1 going into it, but JW holds his mental fortitude there. But the problem is the money is still absolutely abysmal for Fnatic. They are able to find some real footing here, and the T's are going to be aware of this. They're going to keep applying pressure, keep facing key angles. They know the utility is in there, so this could still going to come down to JW, and whether he can find that first frag is going to be really important about going into these next few rounds. 3 Famishes and a Mag 7. JW needs to do some big work here to find some stabilization for the round.
And TSM, they'll take this round by round at this point as well, because they've got 3 to go, but those 3 are going to get harder and harder as money slips away. Xyp9x has a great first kill on to Olofmeister, but you pointed it out, it's a single play right now, single player on B, so it's a stack on this A site, and yet TSM are still approaching it with vast amounts of speed. Confidence perhaps on that first pick, but should be weary of the fact that this setup is in place. And fortunately for their sake, they have slowed this down considerably. Smoke out on the arch side as well means Flusha can't get a clear line of sight toward Kerrigan, who's approaching that smoke slowly but carefully. And JW with the same problem has to go back to the bomb site, but it's a trade. Pronax comes out as those smokes dissolve, and although Kerrigan got Flusha, it's immediately answered. However, it's even weaker on the defense perspective, so JW is going to rotate back over to B, and right now that might be the right call as TSM. Bomb is in the hands of dupreeh and Banana.
That's a device now, smoking out of Boiler, just trying to take intel away from Pronax there, but he's right up against that smoke. He's just listening out for any footstep he may hear. One more grenade coming in. That's about all the fake device can afford to sell at this moment. He goes to join his teammates. It hasn't actually done too much. They still have 2 CTs, and JW with the AWP there, holding that angle true.
Absolutely 0 utilities to slow this down, though, but they've got utilities on TSM side. Why are they peeking the AWP? Well, yet dupreeh hits Crims. That's massive, because now they can walk in, but that could have gone all wrong. If JW picked up even one of those shots, it could have completely turned the round back. Instead, bomb goes down, smoke off on construction, and JW is going to try and save.
You can't argue a results map. JW missing 2 uncharacteristic shots there. And although, like you said, it was kind of a weird way to do it, but KGB does take down JW as the AWP gone. And this should be on to round number 14 now. Just going to be Pronax saving that Famus and no head armor. Not really much to say, but something they're going to have to work with. That was another force buy coming in after winning the last round. Fnatic really didn't have much to play with. So they had the AWP, 3 Famuses and the Mag 7. Just didn't have the firepower to hold it off. They went for that aggressive play. 4 players towards the A bomb site, leaving Crims isolated onto B, but It's kept losing the frag battles there going into it. JW, had he had landed even one of those shots, could have been enough to rattle the T's to fall back, and they could have done something about it. But now TSM really are running away with this. You can see the money just absolutely devastating for Fnatic. They're only going to have $1,400 going into this round, only saving one Famas as well. What can they do here? They have to either make the up decision. Do we force buy into this and try and get the 10th round on the board and then try and get to it, or do we take map point on the chin? Looks like they will be doing the former and force buying it. So CZs, the P250.
And this, if you go back, by the way, this is what Liquid was faced with, and they chose to save to get out a bigger buy and play for overtime, and it almost paid off. It's rare we see teams doing that, but maybe more teams need to take that approach.
Well, we'll see. This is definitely, we know how good Fnatic can be with these CZs. That's why it's a bit of an anomaly going in terms of CS, but that shot missed from Device. They did spot a CT towards the banana area. They're still going to stay there. Device knows they can hear footsteps going on, and maybe the CT's now time to push through. They have got flashbangs available, but just waiting at the bottom now as we Crims and Pronax working together. That'd be,
I love how Device is still just like continuously firing, hoping desperately that he's going to catch someone through banana. Why not, right? Take what you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see some decent damage being done to Cajun, but nothing really interesting going on. dupreeh once again opens up the map. He's been fantastic this series. Now the CTs will push through. Device takes the discipline there, but Crims prevails in that one-on-one.
And now Olofmeister's going to follow that up with the pistol kill on dupreeh, so a gun for grabs. It gives them an AK-47 to complement the FAMAS they've already got out. But, again, no kits. They've got armor, no nades as well, so things still very awkward. As TSM, though, this is a 3-on-3. They still haven't gotten to that 15th point. Remember, 14 was always their demon in the past.
Well, they haven't got a kit to play with here. So 30 seconds remaining. Fnatic can afford to have one aggressive man here. And here we go. He's going to play very close indeed. Flusher takes down Zipex. Cajun B replies. Makes it a 2-on-2. 20 seconds remaining.
But they have to go quick. They know on that trade that it's going to be a late rotation from Crims. They have to get into the A side immediately. And Olof's playing this very smart. He hasn't peeked and he's in graveyard. He pops up and it's 2 kills for him.
Wow.
So smart from Olof.
That was actually, I think that came down to Flusher playing that really tight angle. He could hear the footsteps going on, knew he had to make one frag just to make the clock a little bit more scary for TSM. It's a similar sort of thing going down. Once the clock's that low, you don't really have time to actually clear out the bomb set correctly. They took the gamble, and Olof in perfect position here. Didn't go for the bomber. That's exactly how you play CS. Take away the danger first. You know that guy can't shoot as he's planting the bomb. Take away his teammate, then take out the bomber, and then you just win the round completely. You allow the bomb to go down, but it means you're guaranteeing the win going in your favor. So Fnatic come back in. 10th round on the board for them, and they get some decent money here. They pick up a couple of guns. AWP on JW now. Some AKs on Flusher and Olofmeister. This is the time for them now to really go into 5th gear. They've denied TSM with the map points, so the pressure is still on.
Most good cars have like 7 gears now, Henry.
5th gear is the saying, isn't it? That's how
Are you
it
a
goes
Tiffany
down.
Dell fan?
I don't know who that is, mate.
He runs 5th gear. It's like a top gear competitor. It's okay, don't worry about it. But Device, there you go, takes down JW. That'll start things off well. It's responded, though, by Flusha, so even though it's a trade, it still does favor TSM, and with dupreeh taking down Olof, it definitely favors TSM now. And again, the money's still not perfect, so this would put Fnatic in another force buy position on that 15th round. Obviously, they would go for it, but not an ideal economic situation whatsoever. And Flusha, you said that forward angle paid off last time. Watch for him inside the A site right now. Zipex is forced back, because Pronax caught Cajun B trying to get into Boiler, but the timing is so unfortunate for Pronax.
That's the thing about CS, right? Milliseconds separate kills, and or you're actually doing a huge play there. The little nuances really do impact this game hugely. So TSM will win that duel and now puts it to a 3-on-2 situation. They've got no one towards a B bomb side, TSM. So they actually are no one towards a B bomb side for Fnatic. So they're opting all in towards the A side there. But Flusher responds perfectly. Maybe this is going to pay off for them, as they actually did spot. They know it's a 2-on-1 situation if they go towards a B bomb site, so they're taking the number advantage here and seeing what they can do with it as they make their way into the side. 20 seconds remaining, and the CT's deciding just to stick together here on the retake.
So both will be coming from banana. Bomb's going to be planted. Or is it? They're taking their time here, dupreeh. He's going to plant it for oranges as well, so they've got to wrap fully into the site and expose themselves before they can even go for picks. As Device has a great angle played right now from Nubox. Flashes come over. He's able to dodge those. And they can't go for a boost position on him either, but they are getting closer. He'll see those nades go by, but missing that first shot puts a lot of problems in. As now TSM, dupreeh's going to have to come up big with this crossfire, and they find him. Crims with both kills. That was misplayed.
Wow, it all came down to Device and that shot. He had a really nice angle there, and you'd expect a player like the Device to hit those shots all day long, but we saw JW miss a couple of sitters as well, so it's the big moments that really define games like that, whether you have the substance to actually hit those shots. And unfortunately for Device, unable to land one of those, and they lose that one in the 2-on-2 retake.
And TSM's going to force back into it with the Tech 9 on Kerrigan, but I say if they don't win this round right now, knowing the issues, and yes, I know it's demons of old, but knowing the issues they've had closing out games, this is when they should take their time out.
They've got a decent better round to play with here, right? I agree with you. They should probably utilize this time, build up the beast and bankroll and finish off his style, but I think they're banking on the option. Maybe the CTs didn't have a huge cash roll as well, but here we go. Device does have the AWP once again, and needs to be boosting over that smoke. This could work out for them. The CTs are pushing down. He spots one, hits the frag on the Crims, and that's going to be huge. Comes over JW onto straight back as well. So they thought they had the advantage, but JW snatches it away from their grasp.
Exact same thing that started off the last round, except Dupree followed it up. This time he's got to wait in top middle. As Flusha, JW, and Pronax are all on A, and Olaf, we talked about the banana control, he's halfway down it, so he's able to get this information that allows Flusha to stay in position. And TSM are slowly pushing toward that site as well because the deep smoke now has just dissolved. So Device hasn't been able to look into banana and find that out, to find out what Olofmeister's up to that entire 15 seconds of that smoke being in play, and now we're down to 50 seconds, and there's still no read from TSM.
Well, here we go. We talked about Dupree. He's been absolutely phenomenal opening up this A-bomb site. Seems like every single round he's found a kill here. No one seems to be able to shut him down. He's going to be once again towards that boiler area. Flusher rotating back towards B. He's going to leave it in a 4-on-2, but JW gets the kill onto Dupree and gets him back in the driving seat on this. It's a 4-on-3 now.
TSM, they're going to go regardless. Smoke out in front of Library. They still have to contend with the fact that Pronax isn't paid. He's able to dodge the flash. Playing it from the balcony. It's a perfect position. He's not able to take down the shot, but they walk out into him regardless. And Fnatic look poised to take yet another round unless Device can do anything about it. He's going to try. It's the man you would like in this position, but not against Flusha. And he'll bring Fnatic to 12. And now things get very awkward for TSM.
Absolutely. This is what you talked about. This is the nightmare scenario, right? So they can afford to take an eco here and they'll be absolutely fine. Can you almost justify, Dupree going to get some head armor. So maybe a couple of smoke grenades. Zipex has decent money. He could get something on the board in terms of utility. So maybe get that banana control at the start, right? Get the key smokes down and just go for that post plant. If they can find that chance kill through the smoke, that would be fantastic for them. They've got the grenades to play with here. Smoke off cold, smoke off CT spawn, flashbangs go in, and then try and work that sort of pick there. They just need to get control of banana first, but Fnatic are aware of this. They smoke off the top. Olofmeister at the top there, but Debris takes down JW once again, opening it up for TSM.
3 rounds in a row now they've had the first pick. Twice with guns they were unable to convert it. We've already seen what Pistols can do today in both matches that we've had. Keep in mind the winner of this series, and we're only on map 1, will play Virtus Pro. Good smoke position for Crims, though. Is he going to be able to spot them up fast enough? As Cajunb's waiting for a flash to come through. Back's already turned. There it comes now. Pronax, meanwhile, has found Dupree off-site, and Crims is smart. He doesn't even stick around. Once he realizes the setup, he falls back immediately, bounces the smoke out, and this buys even more time for Fnatic, who, by the way, have 2 players rotating over through CT spawn.
Yeah, they left Crims on that B-bomb side once again by himself, but this execution hasn't come in fast enough in TSM. They're going to get locked down here. Crims in a great position, locking kills down through the smoke as TSM make their way onto the bomb side now.
Problem is that bombs drop down in that CT connector, so even though they found at least 1 kill to it, what would have allowed it for a plant, they're not in a position to do so. And now Fnatic are on 13. It's come back that close.
After getting that first pick, I would have preferred TSM just to go into that fast B take I suggested. That would have been perfect in that scenario, considering they actually pulled a player away from B as well. They waited a little bit too long for my liking. The smokes came in really telegraphed, gave CTs enough chance to rotate, and Crims had that smoke in his arsenal. That's such great discipline from him, allowing his teammates just to throw smokes off from the other side of the map, and then as soon as he thinks it's coming in, he drops his. He has no impact, no input delay there. He doesn't have to wait for a teammate. He can just drop it down. And now TSM, another force buy is going to be Carrigan on the Tech 9. 4 rifles for the other guys. They have got some decent grenades as well, but JW still with the AWP, and he's been very pivotal in some of these rounds.
Molotov's going to land exactly where TSM are hoping to set up the raiding party onto this A site. And again, they are with weapons, but they'll be without this round going in their favor.
It's interesting Fnatic now. They're actually opting to go down. This is the mind games I spoke about now. After you push down a few times and show that presence there, it actually allows you to leave 1 CT player there, and they're actually using that 4-man setup coming in as the T's make their way up middle.
Very fast push from Kerrigan. He goes down to the end of Flusha, who's blinded up, and in turn falls to Cajun B, and now it's a kill to the favor of TSM, and perhaps the curse was getting the first pick because this time they did not, but Pronax is able to take down Cajun B. Zipix will burn him alive inside the site, and bomb is going to be planted in the process, but it's not yet said and done just yet. Crims getting the device, leaves it in a 2-on-2 post-plant situation. And Olaf gets himself into Moto. Crims will join him, but Olaf, what a shot, and it's all on Dupree. Stuck inside the bomb site, knows that the fire's in front of him and has at least 1 player to his left. Are they going to stick up or split up, or stick together? And it seems as though they will stick together, but Crims is going to get it. Dupree can't hold the angle, and it's going to go to 14-14. Fnatic now with 5 in a row.
They really are getting back into the series, making it 14-14, and TSM do get the bomb down, but I'm not sure how favourable their money situation is going to be right now. I can see it's actually pretty decent, so we would all go into this round number 29 with full AKs and the AWP on Karrigan as well. Fnatic should be able to buy this pretty decent as well, so Pronax dropping the AWP down for Olof, it seems, this time. So they're actually going to have a change of pace themselves. Perhaps he's going to go towards B and see what he can do with that situation, but what a great retake again, 2-on-2 going in the favour of Fnatic. Seems the pause has worked out for them once more as they are firing on all cylinders now. Crim's going to be leading the charge towards B. And this time not going to be left by himself. He's actually going to have a teammate there. And it's going to be Olofmeister with that AWP.
Well, that's right. I mean, you called it. After the pause, it has been 5 in a row to bring this back to a dead even keel.
No, and T's not going to be committing to that banana area once more. The CT's actually not pushing down too much here. As we have Forterra's getting Palmer's control once again. They have got a decent buy with the smoke grenades. Karrigan, the AWP, just trying to get him to some sort of position as he makes his way to Boiler Room to see if he can find anything from this. Faces towards the quad angle. Olof's going to be playing that arch area. And now then, he is going to be presented with a T here. What they're going to face, they smoke him off first. That's a nice disciplined play there from TSM. That would have been a difficult frag to give away.
We wait for the fire to extinguish itself. The top of middle, Olof's going to take a different approach to the bookshelf in the library. As Pronax again playing on this patio, perfect peek will take down Karrigan, and he gets away with it as well. No one in a position to refrag that as he's very swiftly dropped down below. Olof loses the duel to Dupree, so now they've got a chance to wrap on the site. Crims has to come around the long way. JW is going to go for the mid flank. Device might get caught by it. He crosses over, and definitely they've spotted each other. That means Device has to sit back and try and find the angle, but TSM are getting all the other kills. Cajun B and Device, 2 on the entry. Left to Flusha, stuck inside the back corner, and Zipix finds him. It's all on Crims, 1 versus 3. And we won't speak too soon because we've seen TSM throw away some interesting situations so far this game, but this one's more advantageous than all of the others have been.
Yeah, the CT money isn't fantastic right now.
Gone.
So Crims is going to be becoming the AWP and getting out of there. But finally, the pressure has been released for TSM. They've been on this 14 round for so long. That's all they wanted. I think it was like, what, 49 at some point? And they just wanted to make sure they got it back into it and actually relieve the pressure, at least guarantee overtime going into this. And now they've finally done that. Dupree, once again, that shot, he got into the AWP player, Olofmeister, in towards the arch. Fantastic way to open it up again. We just have a look at the scoreboard quickly and see where we are lying with him. I assume he's going to be charging ahead at 29 frags so far for Dupree, and looking at the other camps, it will be Crims and JW with 23 and 22 respectively there. So here we go then, round number 30. We knew this would be a close one, but it looks like we could be getting overtime potentially, but TSM definitely have the advantage in terms of the money going into this round.
In fact, the kills from both teams, if you added them up, are pretty similar, which tells you how close a lot of these rounds have been.
So we've got an AWP, an M4, and then 2 pistols and a Mag 7. This is the round for TSM to lose. This is all theirs. If they can play this round properly and not give anything away and not allow one player to die, it's going to be fantastic.
Well, and like you said, too, pressure should be off at this point. They can take a deep breath. They've at least gotten overtime. But as the way the momentum's been going, I'm sure it would be much better for them to wrap it up right now. As Karrigan getting closer with that AWP. Very quick shot onto Flusha. Showing off some sexy skills as he walks in toward the site. This now gives Cajun the confidence, and they're going to pinch. Olof's got nowhere to go as Zipix walks down the hallway. And whether he pushed forward or fell back, there was a man waiting on either side. And Karrigan, he might hit the hard shot, loses on the easier one. Either way, bomb has gone down, and it's just JW and Crims remaining to try and push this match into overtime. Or TSM might walk away with Inferno. The map where the analysts thought would be the hardest for them to win out of the 3 that we've got available to us. Crims is going to make this still go on further as he takes down Zipix, but eventually will expire to Cajun B. And Dupree, there it is, 16-14. They get away in the end, TSM, and they go up 1 map.
The good thing about them going into that last round is they knew they had the money advantage there. JW had to find something. He went towards B at the start of the round, wasn't given a kill there, fell back, and then Karrigan, that amazing fast flick shot towards the top of middle, did secure it, and they managed to get into the bomb site and close things out there. So 16-14. It took a little while to close it out there, but they did it. That's the headline.
I'm sure the analyst desks have a lot to say, but one thing more so than any other, I'm sure, is the fact of that really aggressive buy on the second round of the second half. The AK-47 that comes up, they end up winning that, and then it was a seesaw battle until the economic advantage came up. But with that said, we are going to head back over to the analyst desk in just a second's time. I think Richard's still getting prompt. I can hear the prompt in my ears. So
it's really distracting right now, isn't it?
It is very distracting.
Hard to actually say anything.
I'm talking to you, talking to production who don't know I'm talking to them, and then Richard Lewis is waiting. I'm going to wait. Apparently, Do you want to hear something funny? Because
Yep.
if we threw it right now, they're singing Oasis. They're never going to throw it back to you, so I shouldn't throw it back to Thorin. Should we throw him under the bus? Let's go right now. Let's go.
I can't
Let's
hear
throw
you.
it right now, production. Go, go, go.
I don't think that's going to happen.
They're going right now to the desk. I'm trying to get Richard Lewis
Nice,
back.
dude. You
But
already
there
know
we
that.
go.
Welcome back to the. No, yep, we are. Okay. 50 voices, awesome.
Hello.
Hi there, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
It turns out it's
Welcome
the
to the
analysis
analysis
desk.
desk.
Yeah, it's good to be
It's
here.
going to be chippy.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
I don't know what you're doing, mate. I read that thread about you on HLTV, man.
Right.
We
I'm
got
just playing along with it.
Yeah, got my eye on you. Anyway, so it's what we expected. We knew it was going to be a classic. It always is when these two teams seem to meet. And real back and forth there. But the surprise, I guess, or maybe not, perhaps some people did call this, but of course TSM sort of holding the nerve there on a map that Fnatic have such a phenomenal win rate on.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were actually way out in front, and then we thought, oh, it's the Fnatic comeback. It's happening again. But they managed to win 16-14.
I think that it's just a testament to how the difference between losing and winning is in detail.
Yeah.
First half, it was Crims getting those kills with the Deagle on that second or third round. That really kept TSM's economy really modest. And then came, I think it was round 12 when Device, a bit overcommitted to Banana, gets picked off. Fnatic takes over B side. Instead, TSM could have been running at that point. It was like what 6-0 or something, 7-0. It could have been a huge half for TSM. Instead, turns out to be a 9-6, and Fnatic getting a chance of coming back into it.
I mean, we saw two storylines there that have been recently for both of the events for these teams. When it was a DreamHack London final, the problem for TSM wasn't like fragging, wasn't T-side of Inferno when they were versus Envious. It's that they would always get the entries, and then they could never close the round out. Well, recently at Gfinity, I didn't think Fnatic was that great as a team, but they were so amazing at the clutch runs. And so you put the two together, that's what happened on the second half here. TSM constantly get the kills, get the entries, get the bomb down, get in the situations. And like the amount of rounds that Fnatic was able to win in clutch rounds where they weren't even fighting someone. They were just shooting someone in the side of the head, coming behind someone and getting a free kill. You don't even get gifts like this normally in that scenario. So I feel like actually, in a weird way, it shouldn't even have been that close. Yeah, props to Fnatic for being able to take the opportunity. But some of those were just like hand-wrapped, like, here you go, take this. Like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was
unreal.
It was reminiscent of the comeback they put in place against NIP when NIP sort of stormed out in front. And as you said, they kept getting the clutch rounds. The problem with relying on clutch rounds is, of course, it's going to run out eventually.
Yeah.
And we saw that. So
I've got to give props, though, to JW, because like I've referenced quite a few times on our recent shows and
slump.
stuff. He's been having really hard time of it. He was really good on this map, though.
Yeah.
His AWPing was really top-notch. He was the guy who was giving them a chance, at least. And then Crims, obviously, had some
it should have
crazy
been
stuff.
over with at 11-8 scoreline when Fnatic was saving 3 weapons and they only managed to save 1. I think 3 weapons they were trying to save. Ended up only being able to save 1. It was 12-8 for TSM at that point. Fnatic was totally broke. TSM should have.
If they'd saved those 3 guns as well.
TSM should have just flown with that. But instead, it became a 16-14.
And for anyone who didn't see, you couldn't see it on camera, but Cage and B just came by and did this, like, obviously it looked exactly like that. I'm pretty built as well. But on that map, him and Dupree were obviously on another level. They were just
that's
50
gonna be
plus kills
reflected
each
in
or
the
something, I
scores,
think.
which we'll bring up now. We'll take a look at the
Interesting
scoreboard.
going to be see who was the ones that got the most first kills on TSM, because they were getting, I would say on that second half, 9 out of 15 rounds, they were the ones opening with the kill.
I agree. I definitely saw Device pick up 1 or 2. So I say we'll get those on screen now. I'm sure they're coming shortly. But Dupree as well, I thought, had some very good rounds as well. Yeah, I was going to say, there it is, 8. First kills from Dupree, who, of course, overall dropped 31.
Just peek real quick.
No, you can't. You can't, mate. You've got to guess. So
yeah, it's kind of like, as I said, I mean, look, it was Cajun and Device, 55 kills between them.
Yep.
I mean, that's unreal alone. But, again, quietly, Crims is up there at 25. JW with his AWPing really kept them in the game. So, actually, surprisingly close how close Fnatic was able to keep it in terms of fragging. In terms of actual star power, it was pretty good. Obviously, it was a shame, unfortunately. I don't know what the odds are of this, that you could get the head-to-head. We picked out the 2 best players in the world, Olofmeister and Device. What are the odds? It'd be such a close game, play every round of the game. Some players would be getting 20 kills, and then the other 2 just had like an average game and just messed it up for us, you know?
Well, that's how it happens sometimes. And I thought Device, we talked about how he's Mr. Consistent. He does drop usually 25.
Yeah, he was still
he's
pretty
not
good,
far
yeah.
off. He's still made a telling contribution. I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
Zipex, Duncan. Triggered.
Never heard of it.
Never heard
this
of him.
guy?
You
Who is
never,
that?
you never heard of him. Never heard of him. He's dropped 19 as well from a support player point of view. I mean, that's again, he's really added so much depth to it.
I think the way you can summarize the scoreboard is that Fnatic should have never gotten 14 rounds on this map.
Oh no.
By these statistics.
Yeah.
And again, Crim's had some insane moments.
And that just shows you what a charmed life Olofmeister lives. He can get 15 kills and still almost win the game.
Yeah.
Because he's just got so many other people. He got 3 people on his team who fragged ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the best player in the world, which he is, but that just shows what an incredibly deep team Fnatic is.
Yep. So we'll take a look at the heat maps now. I'll get you to talk us through these and what they all mean, because it's just like it looks like Predator to me, mate. I don't know. What's going on.
Something like that. I think it's going to be the T sides from both teams that we're going to be looking at here, and the let's see.
Yeah, it's attacking team activity. So.
Yep.
Do you know what any of that means, mate?
Yeah. No, it's just.
Are we getting an in-depth look into a coaching session at NIP here?
I guess what you'd say is Fnatic was pushing a lot more in Banana than TSM was on the city side. There's a lot more battles there aggressively in Banana. A lot of the action happening there. That's the biggest difference you can take out of these 2 heat maps.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that before, actually, how it's like, Fnatic do sort of like
That's what you're supposed to do against TSM as
yeah,
well. They
like
have
push, right, yeah.
Yeah, push all the way down to Banana, because TSM has some of the best executes over that B-bomb side you ever see in this game.
Well, it's because one of the things that was interesting is this was mentioned at DreamHack London was that TSM actually switched up. So on their CT side, actually, they were playing Device and Dupree, the two old combo there. They were playing B this time. They changed it from Carrigan, I think, Cajun. And so instead, these 2 guys just relied on aim. They tried to play the corner here. They never went down, whereas it's famous for Fnatic. You lock that off. You figure out either you lock it off and you send the guy back, or you wait for them to attack A and you come behind. That's one of the things that they define. That's how they created the Inferno meta. They were the team that made it all about what happens in the Banana.
I was just going to say as well, you can sort
Same
of...
as here as well. Look, this is what happens when you let JW play the map. Somehow people start having fights there all the time.
How did that happen?
Yeah, well, I was going to say as well, you can see from the way that it's all mapped out, there was obviously a lot of retakes going on, which is, suggests to me that, again, pretty much in line with what we saw, which is Fnatic kind of struggling to keep in, but actually having some, again, more miracle rounds, more heroic rounds. TSM were getting onto the site, planting the bomb, Fnatic having to retake the site, which they did multiple times, and not a good situation to be in. TSM's economy snowballing as a result of that. Anyway, we can bring up our MVP. I don't think it's going to be too much of a surprise.
I think it's going to be Dupree.
Yeah.
Must be. He has like 30 kills and 17 deaths or something.
Let's have a look.
That's unreal if you're against
Shazam,
a world-class
of
team
course
like
it is.
this.
And again, just got to be said here. This was another masterclass entry frag and performance from him on the T side. We talked about Apex on Inferno, Gfinity. One of the great sort of all-round entry frag and performances, which it was godlike. Won him.
If a single player has 8 first kills in 30 rounds. I mean, you think that TSM has stomped this map?
Yeah, exactly. You would think that would be like
what happened?
That would be 10 rounds on the first half or something. 30 kills. But yeah.
But right now, I mean, can we put a finger on it? I mean, obviously, we should probably pay a bit more attention to Dupree, but we're not going to. Let's talk about. I want to talk more about where Fnatic are pulling these clutches from. Where are these godlike rounds coming from? How are they able to consistently do it time and time again? And it's not just one player that it's Flusher, he's in the clutch, you'll back him to make it. We're even starting to see people like Pronax, who you wouldn't traditionally associate with this, be able to step up once they're in that position where they're just 1v3, 1v2.
It's just a combination of both. Good plays from one team and bad plays from another. One thing that comes to my mind is a 2-on-2 situation on B-bomb site in the later rounds, as TSM was T-side. Device missing 2 shots he should have always gotten when 2 people were pushing in from Banana, retaking it from Fnatic. Misses that shot. Crims got that shot. He kills Device and kills the second guy. The bomb is defused. It basically just comes to individual small mistakes that just sort of mount up.
So, I mean, I came up with the Nip Magic meme, Richard, before that died when all the magic left, the circus left town. So I also have been pushing the Fnatic Miracle because it reminds me of a similar scenario where at the beginning of this year, Nip was never going to be the team that became the best in the world again and won all the majors, but they could always play you close somehow. They always would have those crazy clutch rounds they'd have in a match where otherwise you were out fragging them, you were entry fragging, you get the bomb down. It feels like that for Fnatic at the moment. Like the thing about Fnatic is you almost can't mentally rattle them. Like even if they're behind in a game or they're in a 2vx situation or they have only a Deagle and a Farmaster versus 2 AKs, somehow that doesn't rattle them to the extent that they lose the round. Whereas actually, even world-class teams, I know some of them, when they get in those bad situations, they don't worry about losing the situation because they think, well, it was already lost. Like if we'd just held initially, then I wouldn't be in that bad situation. Or if this guy was fragging better on my team, that's a way where, if everything goes well, you can win. But as soon as those little cracks sit in for other people, they kind of mentally give up on the game. Somehow, Fnatic, they don't. It's almost like they don't realize how good TSM, Virtus Pro, Envious are. They still think we can win these matches, even though it doesn't look on the outside like they can. So it's making them get the most out of what little they have to use at the moment.
Thing is, I think they're the ones that make individual intuition into art. There was a round where TSM had 2 CT players in Big Pit. Fnatic takes A side. They get the bomb down. You'd think, all right, Fnatic is screwed. They're going to get sandwiched, right? Instead, you have Flusha just pushing into a library, making 2 kills happen. All of a sudden, the situation goes the other way around because of an intuition of a single player. Realizing the situation, all right, we don't have control of Big Pit, so we sort of have to do something on the other side of the map, getting those kills, and then all of a sudden, the ones in Big Pit are pretty much screwed.
I mean, what about the round I was kind of referencing before when I said about gift-wrapped kills? The round where Olofmeister was in A as CT, and he was hiding in the graveyard area, and then, he must have been, let me think, that makes sense. And literally, somehow he got both kills in the side of the head of someone who wasn't even looking at him. I mean, he's in a 1v2. At that point in time, someone's always going to be looking at you. You're going to have to hide the whole time. You're going to have to try and take a one-on-one. He got 2 free kills there. I don't think that might be a scenario you almost never see. And so that just shows the timing, the confidence to still think you can win that round even though they're down in the game. On that level, in that one respect, Fnatic is still ahead of the game, I think. And the other teams, they have to be going well to have that confidence.
Yeah, and killing the guy that's not planting the bomb first, but killing the guy that's covering the bomb plan first also.
Exactly, the timing to even pull that off,
Yep. Yeah. So we move into Dust 2 now. Now, nobody's called a 2-0 for TSM.
No, but it's a possibility at this point.
Now we're looking at it being a very real possibility.
Sure. I mean, I did say I thought whoever won the series would win 2-0.
All right, mate. It's okay. Yeah, it's
sort of pulled a little bit back.
This prediction is brought to you by Alfred. All right, mate. Right. So
he doesn't know. Oh my goodness.
Right. So
this event's not sponsored by that one, Rich.
Oh, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to make jokes at expense, are we?
All right, moving along.
Stream's off. Stream's over. Just kill it. Anyway, but what I want to bring up is the Dust 2 discrepancies between the two teams. We've got obviously, a 51% or 52% ratio, I think, for Fnatic. They were pretty low down, and 61%, which should be a lot higher.
These are online ones, though.
Yeah, exactly. Still, it's including online, but just in general, recent form, overall win rates.
But I mean, on LAN, for example, I remember that Dust 2 was something crazy, 12 out of the last 15 Fnatic had won on Dust 2 offline. So they're a phenomenal offline team on Dust 2 right now. TSM are absolutely amazing, though. I think this is their best map. And part of the reason why is because for most other teams, they are a little bit up and down, at least on Dust 2. Whereas you just know that the CT side is going to be unbelievable for TSM. I think that every player, it's one of those maps where it's like every player is in the perfect position. And you see people getting the clutches and this guy being a beast at the side. Then Cajun's wherever he wants to be in the middle. It's like every now and then teams get a map. Fnatic used to have it with Inferno, where every player is almost in the position they should be playing.
But I'm getting a bit of deja vu here because you said all of this at DreamHack London.
Okay.
Just before they went to play Envious, and you couldn't envision a way they could lose Dust 2 against the French team.
I mean, I obviously couldn't have known that,
No.
someone would throw a Molotov 1 second too late, and then the other guy would die, but there would still be 1 second before it on. I couldn't predict that, Rich.
There were mitigating circumstances, but what I mean is perhaps there is a way back for Fnatic and all this. We have seen TSM lose to top teams.
I definitely don't. I don't think it's over. I think this is going. What's great about this series is all 3 of these maps, in theory, have the potential to be absolutely incredible maps. Even better than the first one, which I thought was pretty good overall. Both teams can win all 3 of the maps. It's just that. I mean, this is the map that, in theory, this one is the one that of the 3, they're all close. This one should be TSM's.
Natu?
Yeah, I mean, if Fnatic starts on T side, I want to see them keep their pace really high, tempo high. Just keep pressure to TSM because they're really good at reacting to situations. They're really good at reacting to when they lose a certain area of the map. Let's say they lose long, they'll take control of the short, or they'll play retake A afterwards and things like that. So if Fnatic keep playing really fast and their individuals are hitting their shots, that's when you can really rattle with TSM.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the importance of Cajun B in particular on this map for TSM. We've highlighted that when he's good, he's very, very good. Indeed, he was one of the names that people felt might have been absent from that top 10 player list that we referenced earlier. Yeah. He sort of holds that short area, playing roundabout car, very effective with an AWP as that secondary AWPer, obviously very effective with a scout as well, despite the, he was never really a jump scout kind of player, just raw aim and sort of exuberance and, raw talent.
When you're playing that position car, it's all about how your opponent is playing on the T side. It's how you pressure him, how do you time your attack. An A split, the type that TSM likes to do, where they'll give you pressure short, give you pressure long, and then they'll split it and really sandwich that area, is how you really pressurize a player in that particular spot. So it's all going to come down to, if the T's let him get clear shots, he's going to be the star. But if the T's make it hard for him, it's going to be a pain in the ass.
He was, for me, he was one of the factors in that envious win that Cajun B didn't sort of lock down the area. He didn't do well at all in that series.
And what's interesting, and what I'm thinking now, just of the series we've seen so far, is the fact that JW was going so well on Inferno is a very good sign, because JW on Dust 2, that's always been a map where he individually, Fnatic themselves didn't used to be that good on it. It's always been a great map for him, though. He can always get because it's a great map for just those aggressive peaks with the AWP, and then you can get back into cover. It's the kind of map where if he really is on similar form as Inferno there, he could be a difference maker there.
Yeah. Well, what about in terms of device? We've often said that Dust 2 is Device's map, that he generally tends to go off and post big numbers here. He's been sort of playing in a little bit more subdued kind of a role on Dust 2 to what we were used to in kind of his heyday on the map, where he would drop 30s and go crazy. It's kind of Dupree that's really taken on that mantle of, doing the sort of unexpected and making the crazy pushes. Is this still the case, that this map is very much his home turf?
What's interesting is when I think back historically, even though Device is being so... I mean, even in this game we saw there, it looked like he had a rubbish game and he still got 19 kills at the end of it. That's a bad game for him. Actually, historically, when I think against Fnatic, that's actually one of the teams he doesn't tend to go that crazy against. It is like Cajun B who goes nuts, or Dupree's had the odd game like this. Carrigan even was having games earlier this year. When I think back, there's not really that many times I think that Device has just taken over the game against Fnatic. Yeah. I don't know why that is. Maybe they're such a well-rounded team. They're so good in clutches. Just an interesting observation I hadn't really thought of before, actually.
I mean, it's also a testament to TSM general gameplay in this map has improved a lot. If Device doesn't have to go huge, getting 30 kills, obviously everyone else is picking up the slack and they're doing things together. And like I pointed out, they have some mean strategies on this map, like look for their area split. That's what they're really good at. The timings, everything they do, it's perfect.
Now, quickly as well, I want to highlight JW. Had a very good performance on the previous map, even though they did lose. We've referenced before that we feel he's in a bit of a slump to where he was kind of this, again, almost like an iconic player for Fnatic, could do the unthinkable. Hasn't really been at that level for a while. They've been relying on Flusher and Olofmeister primarily, and even Crims more so than JW in terms of the numbers he's posting and the consistency of performance. But he has traditionally put in some good performances on Dust 2 also. It seems to be a map where you can do those unexpected things, especially if you've got that playing style that JW does. So specifically in this kind of matchup, how does he sort of match up against Device?
Well, the thing is, he's a guy where he just loves, it's been his playing style forever, to just take crazy CT peaks. I mean, there was a game not that long ago, I can't remember if it was the Fragbite one, if it was online, where the guy, I think it was Cajun, was playing long A doors on T side, and he shot someone else, not JW, JW's teammate. The two players were playing up long. And then because he'd shot that guy low, like maybe to 40 health or something, he threw a Molotov down in the long A and he just went off. Because he was like, well, the guy can't go through the Molotov because it'd kill him if he's on 40 health. What he didn't know was the second the Molotov went off, JW ran up to long A, ran through the Molotov, jumped out, shot him in the back and went back. And literally got a free kill, past the Molotov, and out again with the numbers advantage. Like, no one in the world can do that because no one would ever think that was a good plan to do. But only JW would attempt it, and therefore, because it's so unexpected, he got away with it.
So is the problem that JW finds himself in now? Could it be that it's not so much a slump in terms of execution? It's just that teams are wise to his playing style because famously he is this wildcard player. So you brace yourself. Maybe you're kind of always expecting the unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he's the kind of player, doesn't matter if he's doing well or not, he's the one who's going to be doing the same crap, put it as he will, all time after time.
It's like having scoots on the desk. There's a foul language.
Come on, but it is. It is the unconventional. It's something that no one does, and he just does it, and he keeps doing it, no matter what. If he's succeeding or not, he's going to keep doing it. Eventually, he will actually succeed in it.
Well, here's the problem: the reason that stuff's unconventional is because, in terms of sound, like fundamental theory, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're as a phenomenal a talent as he is, you can make it work sometimes. But if he, put it this way, if he could make it work consistently and he could do it 75% of the time and it always worked, little dig there thrown in there. If he could make it work 75% of the time even, it would then become the new convention. It'd become the new
you were
best.
just doing an Anchorman joke.
That was the joke, Rich.
Yeah,
It'd become the new way to play the game, So it doesn't. No one else tries it like that. He can himself only barely make it work.
Yeah.
So to me, that's his role in Fnatic to me. He's not supposed to be the star player. He's supposed to be the wild card. He's supposed to be this guy where everyone else is playing really sound. Crims is playing so solid. Flash is like always playing his site properly. Olofmeister is dominating, but in a fundamentally sound way. He's taking the spots and the duels he should. JW's job is to be this crazy distraction who's annoying you, and you're thinking, is he behind us right now? Or where is he over there,
Yeah, but I mean, the problem with being the wild card is obviously it should be no pressure. It should be the icing on the cake. But so far, we're talking about this is the era of Fnatic miracles that they're able to pull out clutch rounds and everything else. If JW's missing from this particular mix, then it really seems to be harming them, like overall.
No, I think every time he has a bad game, like obviously he can have an okay game, they're still such a good team. If he has a bad fragging game though, I think that's usually it for Fnatic. That's a wrap, because it's taken, at that point in time, you're putting so much pressure on Olofmeister to not just have kills, but just be like through the roof.
Okay, well, I guess we'll be talking about Dust 2 maybe a little bit later. I think we're going to go to a quick break now. We've got some ads that we need to run. So thanks for your thoughts, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Obviously, when we do get back from the break, we are going to be bringing you that second map in what's going to be an epic series. It's going to be TSM versus Fnatic on Dust 2 in a best of 3. Second semi-final of the day. We'll see you soon.